star after he admitted to being open about moving to a non-Victorian club. And Western Bulldogs veteran Adam Trelaw's confident his injury issues are behind him, re-signing for next season. The 32-year-old, who played only 4 senior games this season, says he has a lot of unfinished business at AFL level.
There's so much fire in my belly still, and being able to play the last 4 weeks really of VFL football and be able to have that feeling and know that when I go out there I can still perform at a high level, that's what I kind of would always go back to, and that's what really got me through.
The rivalry is building between Sturt and the Tigers ahead of Sunday's Sandville Grand Final. Sturt go in as favourites after a dominant 2025, but Bays skipper Liam McBean says they're keen to secure their 3rd consecutive premiership.
We've had to make adjustments across the course of the year. It's never going to go exactly the way that you want it to, and we've had some tough finals to play where we've had to make moves during the game in order to help us to get over the line, and I don't foresee that being any different this weekend. I think it's going to be a really great contest, and we're going to have to adapt as we go.
And Nathan Basset has been named the West Adelaide Football Club senior men's coach, formerly at Norwood, where he led the club to 2 Sandville premierships. He's clocked up time in assistant coaching roles in the AFL. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the big white building, still at 412 North East Road.
At Eastwood, got a crash, Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Got lane restrictions in place. They're really slow heading into the city. Quite busy at the moment. South Road to Glandorf for the tram overpass works, and quite slow Anzac Highway at the Marion Road intersection. Cameras, Whites Road, Paralawi and Golden Grove Road at Golden Grove. Kangaroo is the heartwarming family comedy bouncing into cinemas these school holidays with an all-star Aussie cast, including Ryan Corr and Deborah Marlman. Kangaroo is in cinemas Thursday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Showers and 17 today, a possible morning shower tomorrow, also 17. Mostly sunny on Thursday, up to 24, and then showers increasing again on Friday, 18. At the moment, 16. Now let's see what's happening on 9 News tonight.
I'm Brenton Braglis. Tonight, the SA police worker under investigation over a social media post celebrating the Charlie Kirk shooting. What Taylor Walker had to say following his exit interview. Find out how the teenage social media ban will work. We go inside Hague's new Northern Suburbs chocolate factory and the hidden side effect of sunscreen. 9 News, your news. Night at 6 on 9 and on 9 Now.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
8 after 4 on this Tuesday. Yes, a new sounding sports show for the next couple of weeks. Great to have you with us while Rowie and Tim are on some well-earned breaks. It's been a long season for both, so we've brought in the reinforcements. Maybe a brand new, more exciting duo. The next best, let's see. Campo, Ned McHenry. Good afternoon to you.
Oh, thank you, Tuckers. That's a big introduction.
Straight off the top rope.
Well, we've pretty big shoes to fill, I would imagine. So,
absolutely.
But good to be here, Ned, with you. A great opportunity for us both to tap into what's happening around Adelaide. Now, there's some big stuff happening. We've heard overnight maybe the opportunity to perhaps get Christian Petracca over to Adelaide. He's looking to perhaps wanting an interstate move. Is he the right target?
This is exciting, isn't it? And I think our audience is going to be excited because I don't think we've had a high-profile player like this actually be attracted to the Adelaide Footy Club for some time. Is that fair? I know Isaac Rankin came from Gold Coast, but he was younger, wasn't he, and still developing. But Christian Petracca is an established player. I think people are really excited. Campo.
Well, Leith just made a really good point just in the opener just before. It's a bit like Wayne Carey when he came to Adelaide. He was probably the big acquisition that came across back at that time. Can the Crows afford him?
Well, they can, can't they? They can afford him in a salary cap sense, and they've got the draft capital, but it's about what you're prepared to pay, and that's what's going to be the interesting thing. Is it 2 first-rounders, Cambo? Is it 1 first-rounder? I'm sure our listeners will have an opinion on that. I think at his age, it's a massive ask to pay 2 first rounders, and immediately I was excited. I was thinking, let's open up the draft capital. Let's go. Let's get him. He's the exact type of player that we need. But you've got to be so careful in circumstances like this. Is that fair?
Absolutely. I mean, history says if you take a few years back when the deal was done for Bryce Gibbs, that's the probably most recent time when Adelaide gave up the 2 first rounders to perhaps get him in after the 2017 grand final. So, yeah, it's interesting, and we'll open the lines up, Tuggers.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get that about. We want to hear your thoughts around, is he the right target, and what would you be prepared to give up for him to get here? So the lines are open, so give us a call in. We're interested to hear your thoughts. Now, exit meetings, it's always a tough time of the year. Ned, you and I have both been through it as players, and I've been through it as a coach. It's the worst time of the year, to be honest. And there's been a couple already. So Lockie Murphy was delisted today, so we've got some audio there, Tuggers.
Nah, no good for me. No good. But we move on. People lose their jobs every day, mate, so it's not that big a deal, so move on to bigger and better things.
Sorry to hear that, mate. Are you okay?
Yeah, all good, mate, all good. Worst stuff going on in the world, so we'll move on.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I mean, I've been privy to sit in those conversations for 10 years, and you've been through it as well as a player, and most recently. You normally have a bit of a heads up when you go in because the managers and the list managers are having constant dialogue throughout the year. So it's not really a sudden conversation. They make occasionally every now and then, but normally you've got a pretty good idea when you go in there.
Yeah, you definitely do. I suppose to provide some insight, you're exactly right. You're constantly in dialogue with your management. So as an AFL player or a professional sports person, your manager essentially acts on behalf of you. So you're not in dialogue with the list manager at all. You're just receiving comments from your manager about where things sit or where the opportunities may lie. So that exit interview is really just an opportunity to either thank the coaches or challenge the coaches, and it's often pretty well spirited, I think. Mine certainly was. I was really comfortable with where that sat, and it sounds like, Lockie's handled that with a lot of grace and a lot of perspective as well. So I think people were warm to his response there. I mean, that was pretty cool to hear him put that into perspective, but no doubt it will be a really disappointing time. I know for me it was a difficult time because everyone wants to support you and get around you, and that's almost the toughest thing because you take all these phone calls from people who, are so disappointed for you, and that's the hardest thing, just rocking up for everyone and assuring them that you're fine. So there'll be a few players going through that, and obviously there's some other players out of contract, which is going to be interesting to see as well. Yeah, well, there's obviously, we think that, you'd think Zach Taylor and Hugh Bond will probably get new deals. You'd be comfortable with that? I think it's likely they do. I think that's where it'll sit. I think they still add value, and whether they find themselves in the best 22 as other players develop and younger guys like Sid Draper and Curtin continue to come on, that'll be wait to be seen, but they still add value to the list, don't they? I think it's probably the older players where the really interesting conversation lies, and I'm so keen to hear your thoughts on that in terms of Tex and Brodie, whether you back him in to go again or is it now time? Yeah, well, we've got some audio. Tex spoke to 7 News about whether he wanted to play on in 2026.
How'd you go in there?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, good.
Have a decision on your future yet?
Not yet.
When do you plan to make it?
I don't really have a timeline on it, to be honest, so we'll just see how we go.
Is the club happy for you to play on?
We'll just make that decision in due time, mate.
Nothing to see
committal. It's an interesting one. The text. I would think that Brodie Smith, he probably had that conversation 12 months ago, and he did really well. He did everything that he could have asked for in terms of playing sample footy, getting himself in really good form. Came in as a sub, did that role really well. Forced his way into the finals team on the weekend. He looked disappointed. He looked upset, and you saw down in his room his mum Tracy was upset. So I would suggest that they probably knew that going into the game, that this was probably going to be his last season. The Tex Walker one's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we know what he's been able to do as a leader and the mentorship that he's done for Fogarty and Thilthorpe across the journey. But the conversation is around, do they go with the 3 tools in 2026? Did it work? Did it not work? Did it work in the home and away? Did it not work in the final series? And does Matthew Nixon, the coaching group, I guess, want to pull the trigger on a different game style or different front half? We'll talk the whole time about what Tex does off the field and how spirited he is, and he's a club legend, all of that, right? So let's just put that to the side. Do you think his form justifies another contract? As simple as that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have this conversation with Rowie a lot around it. That he's still arguably their best, most consistent forward in what he does in the game. So what he brings, and I think he's allowed Thilthorpe to grow because he doesn't always get the best defender because of what Tex has been able to do. Fogg had a lean final series. He'd be disappointed with that, but that comes with experience as well. So, yeah, it's an interesting one because I think he adds value both on and off the field. But there will come a time and it'll be a decision whether they make the decision for him and take it out of his hands or whether, it's a compromise between the two.
Well, it sounds like to me that list management has a priority on getting experienced players in with finals experience that add value to the list. Genuine kind of star players, Campo. And how could you go and justify then not providing Tex another contract if he's one, in form, two, has that experience and can help players develop? I don't understand the logic in that. Sure, if you felt like he was delaying the growth of other players, that's an argument, and I'm keen to hear if our listeners believe that may be the case. But if he's a player who can help them go and do one better next year in finals, how on earth could you justify not having him around? I wouldn't understand that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And he spoke to Triple M as well around their finals exit.
Boys are still quite flat, to be honest. It's very interesting. I reckon personally, as one of the most emotional games I've been involved in for a very, very long time.
Afterwards?
Afterwards. It was just a really, really weird feeling in the locker room, and I think that was off the back of we probably didn't expect to. We had high expectations ourselves internally that we could go an extra couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? He's been around a long time, Tex, hasn't he? He was part of the 217, the letdown of that, where, we're arguably the best team, there's no question, in terms of the way it was, and it fell out, not the right way on the day, and it comes down to, one or two games, doesn't it? Adelaide's so good for majority of this year, minor premiers, and then two games, all of a sudden, oh, wow, maybe they're not as good as
they're
what we
strong
thought.
Comments, though, aren't they? And emotive comments from an experienced player.
Yeah, and Tex as well as I do. He's a passionate football person as well, and he loves the footy club and wants to see him succeed. And I think he's been a huge part in getting him back to where they are today. But that doesn't also give you the right just to stay on as long as you want either. So things do have to move on. But that's about the Crows, Ned. But we're going to roll down to Port. Big news down there. Our own Jimmy Bartell, who we get on weekly, toured through Alberton. Here's some audio.
Yeah, he was spotted at the headquarters there, so he was recently in Adelaide, and while he was here, he caught up with the club's decision makers as Port cast its net far and wide in search of Chris Davies' replacement. And the Brownlow medalist meeting was informal, and 7 News understands the Power is in no hurry to lock away a new footy GM. Bartell, the AFL Hall of Famer, spent 5 years as GWS football director before departing at the end of 2024.
Good get? If they could get him?
Seems like a good get. My thinking goes, are people using the media to propel their career?
Oh, no question.
So Jimmy Bartell has stepped out of a role at an AFL club and then entered the media and is now in a conversation to go and do a head of footy role at Port Adelaide, which is great. And I think we all enjoy listening to Jimmy's commentary. But are people like Nathan Buckley, like Jimmy Bartell, like you, Scott Camporeale, I know you're gunning for another head coach role. Are you using the media to propel your career?
I think there's elements of that. I don't think Jimmy is. I think knowing Jimmy reasonably well, that just got one through that someone spotted him, and I don't think he's necessarily promoting himself for in there, but he may be. But he's got. I think that would be a wonderful appointment. His experience. He was on the board as the footy director at GWS, so he's been at an interstate club in terms of all those things that the issues with interstate clubs, but a wonderful footy brain. Like I worked with him at 3AW, did a few games with him this year, sees the game really well. And what another set of eyes for Josh Carr if you could get someone in like that on game day, that if he's, Chris Davies sat in the box, for Ken Hinkley this year or over the journey as well, you had someone like that with some experience. And I think that role needs footy acumen in terms of what that person does. They do need to understand the game and not just, the commercial side of it and the logistics of it. So, I think it'd be a wonderful appointment if they get him, but that'd be a big move for Jimmy.
So in your time in footy, Campo, what does make a good head of footy? What characteristics are really important?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, you clearly got to have an eye on like all phases in terms of list management, where that's going, the day-to-day running of the footy club and what's happening, internally. But I think you also need to have or be an ally and understand what's happening in the game as well, so you can help the coach as well and lean on and have those conversations around footy as well, because a senior coach can be put a little bit isolated at times, and if you don't have a really good footy person in there as well, along with your assistants, I think that can be a really good sounding board, moving forward. So, you see it in a lot of other clubs, Alan Richardson at Melbourne with Simon Goodwin. You see Danny Daly, what he does at Brisbane, through there. You see what Andrew Mackey's doing at Geelong. So they're really good footy people that go in those roles, and I think it is really important. So, big show coming up, Ned, as well. We're going to speak to John Ralph as well. Soon. Yeah, Mark Bosnich as well about the EPL. But the lines are open. We want to hear. Ring up now. Tell us your thoughts. We'll talk about the Christian Petracca. Is he the right target for Adelaide? And what would you be prepared to give up for him to get him across to Adelaide?
What's the price?
That's the big question. So have you say 8223 0000 is the number. And remember, if you call in and you get to air, very simple to do, you are straight on the standby list for grand final tickets. That's for you and a friend, flights and accommodation. So pretty easy. Get on the air. 8223 0000. Ned McHenry and Scotty Camporeale.
Footy finals are here, and to celebrate, we're giving you a chance to win a Vintec wine cabinet valued at over $4K, and it's thanks to Rusden Wines.
Make sure you listen to us daily on the 5AA Sports Show from 4 p.m. and keep an ear out for the iconic grand final moment. Call in and get it right, and you'll score yourself a twin pack of Rusden wine. Plus, you'll go into the draw to win the 50-bottle Vintec wine cabinet full of Rusden wines.
Thanks to our great mates, that's Rusden Wines. They're in the Barossa Valley, home of the Blackgut Shiraz. Visit rusdenwines.com.au.
What was that? Oh, I know you're out here somewhere. Where are you?
Searching for a better night's sleep? For over 30 years, Town and Country Mattresses and Beds have helped South Aussies sleep better with custom-made mattresses and electric beds. As an aged care and NDIS provider, they specialise in high-low and electric beds. Find your better night's sleep at Town and Country Mattresses and Beds, 68 Research Road, Petracca.
Launch into study at Adelaide University and be part of a supportive learning community. Learn from world-class academics and graduate with the skills and experience to step confidently into your career. Search Adelaide University now.
Well, Nettie, if you need to move from A to B this spring, your best move is hiring from Budget Car and Truck Rental.
Natty, okay, Campy, to get started, you'll need boxes and tape for storage and furniture covers to keep your possessions pristine. Budget has you sorted.
Yeah, then you'll need the perfect set of wheels, and Budget has them all. Cars big and small, moving vans and trucks available on a standard driver's licence, plus utes, hybrids, trailers, 12 to 25 seat buses and more.
Beautiful. Once you've chosen your vehicle, grab Budget's blankets and a trolley to ensure the move goes smoothly.
Yeah, John done easy, Ned, with Budget, a family-owned business with friendly staff you can count on and multiple locations across SA.
Got something big to budget with a Budget rental truck. Call 13 27 27.
A new battery rebate is here, and it's a game changer. The Cheaper Home Batteries program with NRG Solar makes smart storage more affordable than ever. Eligible homes and small businesses can save thousands, and households could slash power bills by up to 90% with a solar and battery combo. NRG Solar will guide you through and lock in the rebate before the masses catch on. Head to nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160. Don't wait. The smart move is to act now.
Get summer ready with TJM. Whether you're hitting the beach or heading off-road, TJM has the latest in four-wheel drive and camping gear to keep your adventure ready. Check out our brand new 270-degree freestanding awning, rooftop tents, camp chairs, fridges and everything else you'll need for the ultimate outdoor setup. Drive with confidence all summer long with TJM's range of bull bars, vehicle protection and premium suspension options, including GVM upgrades. TJM Nailsworth, Ranella Trolor and now Mount Gambier.
No matter what your lifestyle looks like, if you have a home care package, you can choose who cooks your meals. Local Kitchen Co. is an Adelaide-owned, NDIS-approved provider dedicated to delivering nutritious, affordable, home-style meals straight to your door. Every meal is thoughtfully planned, made with fresh local ingredients and generously portioned. With weekly changing menus, there's always something new to try. So if you've got a home care package and you like your meals locally made and delicious, search Local Kitchen Co. and order today.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
It is 25 minutes after 4 on this Tuesday afternoon. We have a new combo, nice and refreshed, and we're taking your calls. 8223 0000 is the number. Very shortly, John Rao from the Herald Sun and Fox Footy. Where is this Christian Petracca hype at? Is it real? And can the Crows actually get him next year? And do you want him? We'll take your calls. Have you say you're in the running for the grand final package if you do get to wear. Let's check your traffic for Rossdale Homes, SA's most trusted with custom design, fixed pricing and a total peace of mind, because trust is a must.
G'day there at Eastwood, a crash. Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Got lane restrictions. This is pretty slow both ways. Globe Derby Park got a breakdown. North-south motorway near Globe Derby Drive. And Highbury, look out for urgent electrical works at the moment. Lower North East Road near Dawdy Streets. Cameras, Grenfell Road, Banksia Park and Kester's Road at Para Hills. Want to feed the family for less? Try Potto's whole chicken with your choice of basing and a family chip. Just $19.95. Get yours now only at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Yeah, we've got some calls now. Keep ringing in. As we said, Tuggers just gave us the theme of the day. We've got David at Aberfoyle Park.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Good, mate. What do you got?
Well, this Tex Walker situation, I think it's been blown at the top, because I think if you look at the history of players that played over 300 games plus, they're normally on ballers. You know, players that can run around the ground still, fit as a fiddle, and pick up the ball and deliver. But Tex Walker, I think he's run his race, honestly. He's had a good career. He struggles to keep up the play. He takes uncontested possession. He's still got a good kick, and he struggled during the finals. And I think three tools made the Crows struggle a bit. And I think number 32...
Fogarty.
Fogarty struggled a bit, which he did the finals. Got little contested possessions in the game, no tackles. I think got one goal in the two finals. I think you take Tex out the equation and you have Philfoot up front, maybe centre forward type. Fogarty in the full forward spot, maybe, improve his game. That might be the better option for Crows. I think Tex has probably been told, but, he's playing games. And, to be quite honest, I know I'm not a Crows man, I'm a Port Power man, but Tex is a great player, good player for Crows, contributed well as a captain, but I think he's run his race, honestly.
No, good call, Dave. Yeah, there's a bit to unpack there. We'll talk about that as well, but, geez, I think he's had a pretty good year. I mean, we're looking at a small sample size over that, and he was arguably their best forward in the first game against Collingwood. So, yeah, interesting one. Tom from Salisbury Heights, you got something on the Bartel rumour?
Yeah. Did I hear that right? Jimmy Bartels for Port Adelaide?
Well, he hasn't officially gone there yet, but he was touring around the facilities. So I think they're interviewing, a lot of the candidates, but he was definitely one.
He'd be a great get. I mean to say, he'd have more contacts than you could poke a stick at.
What do you like about him, Tom?
Look, his knowledge of AFL football and the scenes in AFL football, he's been exposed to quite a few clubs. How could you go wrong with someone like that?
Yeah, good call. I think there's a lot of people
I think we all agree, Tom.
Way.
No question. Greg at Largs Bay?
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. Yeah, look, I agree with the previous caller. Jimmy Bartel would be a great get, and that's probably something that's worried me a little bit about the Crows, with all due respect to Adam Kelly, but I think his background's more admin than football. But that's not the reason for the Petracca situation offers an opportunity. Maybe, I mean, if we are going to re-sign Tex, we're going to be in that three tall forward scenario again. And I really probably stifles a Fog a little bit. Now, look, we have a need for a midfielder. Melbourne desperately has a need for a tall forward. So there's I think that I think the trade would be quite simple if Darcy wanted to maybe become a key forward as opposed to number 3. What do you think?
Well, interesting call. I'm not sure Darcy Fogarty would be on the trade table, and I certainly wouldn't be making sure that was going to happen. But, yeah, I mean, the 3 tools, the 2 tools, I would argue he's helped those 2 forwards more than hindered them over the journey. Would you agree with that, Ned?
I would, Campo. Yeah. What's that saying? Robbing Peter to save Jane?
Paul? No, robbing Peter to save Paul.
Yeah, whatever it is. That's exactly what...
I'm glad you're sitting in Rowy's seat.
Zip it, Tuggers, on that little buzzer. I mean, I still think... Let me throw a hypothetical out. If Darcy Fogarty gets injured in the preseason, and God forbid, right, or injured in round 3, and Tex Walker's available on the list and can still, provide that invaluable kind of talent and et cetera. I mean, why on earth would you go and let him go when you can keep him for absolutely no draft capital or whatever? Keep him on your list.
Yeah.
Even if he plays 10 sample games on the weekend, Cam.
No, I agree. And we got a bit of a heads up yesterday that perhaps Calamarchi from Brisbane might be one to come, Ned. So he's that third tool, a hybrid tool that can play over his head but also go forward. So keep your calls coming in. You're in the chance for running for that AFL Grand Final experience, Douglas.
Certainly are. 4:30 headlines are coming up. John Ralph is going to give us more meat on the bone for this Christian Petracca Adelaide Crows link up next.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Good afternoon, I'm Kendall Brettig. A gas leak in Sydney's northwest has left 1 person dead and 6 others in hospital. Residents in Gaza are reporting heavy, relentless bombing as Israel reportedly launches its ground offensive. People who use sunscreen every day are more likely to be vitamin D deficient. And Taylor Walker's had his exit meeting with the Crows, but his future remains undecided. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the big white building, still at 412 North East Road.
G'day there, at Eastwood. Still got big delays for the crash, Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Got lane restrictions in place, so avoid if you can. She's really slow. Globe Derby Parker breakdown, the north-south motorway near Globe Derby Drive and Highbury. Urgent electrical works on Lower North East Road near Doughty Street. Cameras Addison Road, Pennington and Bridge Road at Salisbury East. The Chemist Warehouse footy finals half-price vitamins and cosmetics sale is on now. Stock up and save today. Shop in-store or online now at Chemist Warehouse. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
A possible shower tonight and partly cloudy tomorrow, heading for 17. At the moment, 16. More news at 5 o'clock on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Geez, ANZ are on a hot streak, aren't they?
David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
For those of you who don't know, what we're talking about here is that they were not paying bonus interest into people's accounts. We're talking thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people.
Adelaide's leading breakfast show.
Now, the ANZ's defence is, it's a system error.
5AA Breakfast.
I mean, is that an excuse if you're a private punter? I know I didn't put my tax return in for 10 years in a row, but I had a systems error.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Hey, Dad.
Yes, mate?
I've been thinking about this for a while. I think I'm going to move out.
Oh, son. Honey! Get on the phone to Lonsdale Marine and RV. We're hitting the road!
When you're finally free to explore, do it with Lonsdale Marine and RV. We tailor everything to how you want to travel. Big fridge, solar, slide-out kitchen, anything you like. Don't settle for a showroom clone. Check out Lonsdale Marine and RV, 30 Donegal Road, Lonsdale.
They say one of life's biggest decisions is buying a home. But sometimes the hardest one is leaving it. At Anglicare SA, we're here to help you stay where you belong, at home. We offer support for everyday things like cleaning, gardening, cooking, but are also experts in care management, allied health, and clinical nursing. Because we believe there's no place like home. Let us help you stay where your heart is. Find out more at Anglicare SA. You are at home.
It's spring. Time to freshen up more than just your house. At Wayville Hyundai, spring in for a spring service and get 10% off when you book online. Enjoy faster bookings, a full service, free wash and vacuum, plus the benefit of flexible payments with Afterpay available. It's the easiest spring clean and service you'll ever do. Book your service at wayvillehyundai.com.au/service to receive 10% off. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai.
It's Tyre Power's Big Footy Final Sale, and the team from Tyre Power is giving you the power to buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Toyo passenger car and SUV tyres. Buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Toyo tyres, but only at Tyre Power this September. Tackle road safety with a new set of tyres during Tyre Power's Footy Final Sale. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local independent owner.
Get ready, Adelaide. The Rivoli Food Festival is back. Join us from midday on Saturday, 20th September at Milner Place in Rivoli. Just 25 minutes drive from the CBD. Watch live cooking demos with 2025 MasterChef winner Laura Sharrod. Enjoy mouth-watering food stalls, live entertainment and hands-on cooking classes for kids. Entry is free with fun for the whole family. Don't miss the Rivoli Food Festival where your taste buds come alive. Visit rivoli.com.au/food for more information.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
But I felt it was through the middle of the ground, guys, where they just lacked a little bit of depth, and that is what they mean by feedback. You can identify holes on your list. Of course, had a high draft pick in Draper, who gets another pre-season as well to add to that.
Jimmy Bartell last night saying the Crows need some midfield depth. Well, the one name on everyone's lips today, Christian Petracca, linked to the Adelaide Crows. Let's find out more, all thanks to Parafield Airport Liquor, home of the hardest to find wines, beers and spirits. Life is better with your pals.
Well, next guest, Johnny Ralph from the Herald Sun and Fox Footy. Welcome, Ralphie.
Hello, boys. Good to be with you.
Well, our text line, our phone line is lit up over here with the potential of maybe Christian Petracca looking to move into an interstate club, and we'd love to have him.
No doubt about that. And you know what? He might not get there, but I think he's a lot more open to the kind of trade to a club like Adelaide that he would have been 12 months ago, not only because Adelaide looks like they're in premiership contention for the next, let's call it 4 or 5 years, but also I think his own situation has changed. You know, he's really keen to find himself in a club that would potentially win him another premiership. We know, of course, his premiership deeds and the Norfolk Medal of 2021. But I think too, you know, this time last year when he was keen to get out after that King's birthday injury and the aftermath of it, he thought, I want to stay in Melbourne, I want to stay around my mates, I'm only really interested in going to some of those power clubs, whether it's a Collingwood or a Carlton. But now, yeah, he's just prepared to cast the net a little bit wider. Now, I think Adelaide probably realises it's not certain to happen, it's probably not even likely, but I love the aggression from a club that, let's face it, was really, really confident that they were going to get Naz Wanganeen-Millera. In the end, he decided to stay at St Kilda. So they got the cap space. They've absolutely got the draft picks this year's first rounder and next year, and they've got the inclination to go hunting. And if it's not someone like Christian Petracca, there are going to be some other clubs out there desperate to get back into the draft who might, you know, potentially have some star midfielders who might just be a perfect fit for Adelaide.
Yeah, well, you're right, Ralphie. I mean, we witnessed both the finals and the midfield was a little bit of an issue. And they went out last year. They were pretty aggressive, Adelaide. They got Cummings, they got Peatling in as well, and they got Alex Neil-Bullen, which is obviously a connection piece for Christian Petracca as well. And Darren Burgess was Melbourne high-performance manager. But you spoke about the draft capital. He is a contracted player. What do you think would get it done?
I think it's fascinating because Stephen King has literally only in the last 12 hours had his first list management meeting with Melbourne. And so, you know, I listened to Mick Malthouse, who, you know, obviously you know well, who says, you know what, in your first year as an AFL coach, you've got to get wins on the board, you know, and then it allows you to set up whatever you want to do, whether it's tweaking of the list, whether it's, you know, getting through that honeymoon period and then setting your sights on other players. And so if I was Stephen King, I would look at this Melbourne list and I'd say we've got a lot of senior players, but we're not going to win a premiership in the next 2 or 3 years. We've got a lot of young players there, you know, whether it's the Judd McVees, you know, Langford, Lindsay, Cozzy Pickett, you know, hopefully Rivers and Sparrow in that bracket as well. But we need more. We need more A-graders. And so if it is that we can get a first rounder in this year's draft and a first rounder in next year's draft, well, all of a sudden it allows us to do that. Yeah, I know that, you know, Melbourne said last night through their chief executive and Paul Guerra, we're going to play finals, and so did Stephen King as well. I think everyone who looked at that list would say, yeah, it's got some talent, but it's not there yet. And the last thing that Melbourne needs to do is just admire themselves in mediocrity. So yeah, it's clearly going to take, you know, accepting his salary, which does hit something like $1.7 million by 2029. And it's also going to take a couple of first-round picks. Normally it's 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder coming back the other way. He had a really, really poor kicking year, but he still at his best is one of the AFL's top 20 players. And if he can fix his kicking, maybe he could get back to top 10 in the league again.
Ralphie, do we know if his management has actually sat down with clubs and instigated, serious conversations at this point, or is he just open to exploring options?
Yeah, I think it's very much the latter. And I think Melbourne is that as well. Last year when they kiboshed that trade, they were effectively imploding. And so they just had such a, closed mind to it. Of course, they were open to trading Christian Petracca, and some here would say that, the fact that they talked to Adelaide about it might have sort of started the firestorm, and Adelaide was interested to a certain extent, and then they weren't, and then, of course, all hell broke loose. So yeah, I think it's very much in a preliminary phase, and it may well be that Stephen King says, you know what, Adelaide's first rounder, it's going to be pick 15. By the time you get 6 or 7 academy picks in, father-son selection bids, I don't really want pick 25. So Melbourne would have to have a game plan to say, okay, how do we get back into a first round in a spot which we really like? And it also depends what, Jason Taylor and Tim Lamb, the list boss and the recruiting boss, really think of this draft. This is a draft that has probably 6 really quality selections, and then it's very even from about 7 to 25. So if they have a couple of, players they really like in that, 10 to 15 or 15 to 20, and they see it as being a really value draft to get into, even though it's not an elite draft, well, I think that's going to instruct what they do. So I think the fact that Christian's open to it, there will be other clubs out there. Is it Sydney if they can't get a Charlie Curnow? Is it Gold Coast if they feel like they need another, star strike power midfielder? I think there will absolutely be rival clubs out there that will be trying to, drag him away from Adelaide. But the fact that Adelaide is so aggressive 3 weeks out from the start of trade period, I think it just signals that, it might not be Christian, but they need more players than just Isaac Rankin returning to this side, early next year.
Ralphie, Zach Merritt's dominated headlines this week, reportedly exploring his options, obviously captain of the Essendon Footy Club. It's been reported about an hour ago through Xander Maguire and Mitch Cleary that North Melbourne captain Jai Simpkin might be open to a move too. Am I getting old, or is this the new norm? Seriously.
Oh, it's the new norm. So I'm 46, and I sort of still feel like I'm old-fashioned, even though I'm just middle-aged rather than, an old fuddy-duddy. I still think there's some loyalty in football. I have real sympathy for both of those players. I mean, Jai Simpkin is an elite midfielder, and yet he continues to play at half forward, and he plays in a Melbourne side, a North Melbourne side, where the ball often just doesn't get there, or it goes over his head to Nick Larkey, and he just can't get himself involved. We saw when he played pretty much pure mid in that Indigenous All-Stars game. It was what was, let's face it, a bit of an exhibition contest, but still, he played inside mid, and he won the best of field medal. So he thinks that his best football is there. They're looking for players like Marcus Windhager to play as a defensive mid. Their plan is not for him to play more midfield time, it's to play less. So if I was him, I'd be thinking, okay, I fulfilled my contract. I want $850,000 for the next couple of years, and I could be out of the game at 32. Whereas if he gets to a club where he can play great football, he's never going to be that pure inside mid. But there would be clubs out there who potentially could see him as, a starting inside midfielder, and then they're away. He wouldn't be picky. It may well be that he has to go to a club like Essendon, where he's a centre square midfielder. But it may well be he can extend his career till 35, and I think that's what he'd like to do. Again, very early doors, but there's no doubt that North Melbourne will have to consider that potential trade request.
Well, Ralphie, thanks for your time. We had plenty more questions, but we've got to keep moving. We didn't even get to the prelim finals, above all that stuff. We've got 2 pretty important games that are going to happen this weekend. But thanks for your time, mate. Really appreciate your thoughts.
No, and some would say that the trade period is the main game. That was exactly the size, but,
get him off.
But you know what? It sells hope for the 14 clubs out there that are still not there. And let's face it, we're a little bit bored because those preliminary finalists, we've seen it and we've done it, and they've been there for so many years before.
Very true. Thanks, Ralphie.
Fantastic.
John Ralph, our guest.
And he's all thanks to Parafield Airport Liquor. When you're after that special drop, trust your pals to have a Parafield Airport Liquor. Home of the hardest to find wines, beers and spirits. Life is better with your pals. We'll keep taking your calls, 8223 0000 all the way up to 5 o'clock. We've got Tony from Bondi, is a good favourite of Campo's, I know.
Love you ringing early, Tone.
Well, Campo, I just saw you on, and g'day, Ned. How pleased to meet you.
Hello, Tony.
The boys look a little bit thin. Maybe it might be great for a regular just to ring in and, make sure everyone feels very well supported.
Good work, mate. What do you got?
So, look, I'm so glad Ned's there because he will probably have a thought on this as well. And I'm certainly not here to have a go at anyone because it's incredibly hard to stay on an AFL list and they're all amazing players. But you would have to walk away from looking at Friday night and then watching Saturday night and sort of having a look at, and I'm not going to be overly critical of Adelaide's recruiting department. I think they've been generally pretty good. But I thought our athletic profile was a little bit low for quite a while, just in general. Lots of good players, lots of neat players, lots of clean players, but not a lot of difference makers. And then I watched on Saturday night, and this will be, and forgive me if this takes a second, right, but I watched Brisbane kick the football to the most dangerous spot in the ground. From half back, and they'd kick it to launch pad at half forward. And I'd like, gosh, they're going to kick that to even numbers in a dangerous spot. Why would they do that? And I'm like, because that's Charlie Cameron, McCluggage, Cam Rayner, and Will Ashcroft. That's their four, right? And it doesn't actually, do you know what it turns out? It doesn't matter who the other four are, because if you're a coaching group and you're going through those scenarios and you're training it, you're going, well, least likely thing that happens is we get turned over and the ball comes back the other way. Next most likely thing that happens is it goes, we win it, we get tackled, we go to stoppage. Next most likely is we win it, we get our hands free and put one of them into grass, or we win it, we break a tackle, we make someone miss, and we put two of us into grass, right? And I just thought, gosh, having those difference maker athletes get together and outnumber you at the source, my God, it just makes footy, makes you so dangerous so quickly.
Tony, good call. We have two of them. One was sitting on the sidelines in a tracksuit and the other one was on the bench for the first half of the game.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
What? Like, they've got lots of them. You know what I mean? Geelong have got lots of them. I mean, Collingwood probably don't have as many, but they have enough. It just gives you choices, Ned, that I don't know why anyone would bite that kick off, right? I'm watching Dane Zorko going, dude, don't kick it there, right? That's even numbers at the worst part of the ground. And I'm like, okay, it's those four dudes. Right. So, look, they're hard to find, I get that. And also, sorry if I'm taking a bit long, but I thought Adelaide's recruiting was excellent because those difference maker athletes are hard to find. So they went and found three players that made our system better.
Yeah, it's a good call, Tony. Like you make some great points every week, mate. You see the game really well, but the challenge is how do you attract those players? And you got to draft them. You got to have draft capital to do it. And if you look at the teams that are left in it, I think Hawthorn, the way that they played, they took a leaf out of what Collingwood did to them in terms of handball receives and trying to ask Adelaide a question. If you can get through with hands, then we can get it into some one-on-one opportunities really quickly. And I think that's the difference. And I think Geelong do it as good as anyone as well. Brisbane, a little bit different. They're a bit more kick mark. They go by foot a little bit more.
Well, we've got Coach's Campo's
Corner.
Coach's Corner. The Triple C's coming up, which I can't wait because you're actually going to dissect a fair bit of that and go into some data, some real-time data from those games that might represent a bit of that.
You are listening to Ned McHenry and Scotty Camporeale here on the FIVEAA Sports Show. Keep calling in because everyone that gets to air is in the running for that grand final package. But we are also giving you another chance to win something too. That is the Vintec wine cabinet. We've been doing this for the last week or so. It's valued at over $4,000. It's awesome. It fits 50 bottles of Rusden wine, which is our good friends who are getting us around this. There's a twin pack of Rusden up for grabs, plus you're in the running. If you can simply guess this iconic grand final moment.
Dash goes down, picked up by Marriott. Marriott hooks it up in front of the goal.
Any idea? You two can't say, but we want our listeners to guess. 8223 is the number. If you can tell us what that is, all thanks to Rusden Wines, you are in the running. Let's check your roads at 12 to 5.
Afternoon at Eastwood, a crash, Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Got lane restrictions affecting both ways there. Globe Derby Park, a breakdown, the north-south motorway near Globe Derby Drive, and Highbury urgent electrical works on Lower North East Road near Doherty Street. Slow at the moment, South Road, Edwardstown with a camera, Addison Road at Pennington. Dive into the fun with seafood and sounds at Adelaide Central Market, September 19 and 20, with seafood specials, live music, cooking demos and more. AdelaideCentralMarket.com. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA proudly supports Football SA. Congratulations to 2024 NPL Grand Final champions, Campbelltown. Proudly supported by major sponsor Chemist King. Affordable health, beauty and everyday essentials across 9 Adelaide locations. They check prices daily, so you don't have to. It's been a sensational season so far this year. So from 5AA, good luck to all the teams fighting it out for this year's championship. 5AA, a proud supporter of grassroots sport.
For over 50 years, Gliderol has been manufacturing and installing garage doors for South Australian homes. Spring is almost here, so why not improve the street appeal and value of your most prized possession? Order a new Gliderol door with operator before the end of September and you'll receive 2 extra handsets. Plus, we'll remove your existing door for free. Call Gliderol for a free measure and quote on 1300 799 144 or go to gliderol.com.au. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply.
When it comes to retirement, make your choice Living Choice Australia. Join us on Wednesday the 24th of September at Living Choice Flagstaff Hill for information, tours and a keynote speech from former media professional Marcus Pearce. Marcus will share powerful insights on longevity, purpose and thriving in retirement while giving a vibrant new outlook on retirement living. Whether you're planning or exploring retirement living, join us on Wednesday the 24th of September at 10:30am. RSVP at livingchoice.com.au.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And South Australian Business Chamber and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between South Australian Business Chamber and Ray White Business Sales SA, all that experience flows to you. This ensures you're in top shape, whether you're buying, selling, or somewhere in between. Touch base with the experts. Search Ray White Business Sales SA. Proudly partnered with South Australian Business Chamber.
Since 1935, Resthaven has supported older South Australians. For more than 35 years, that support has also extended into people's homes, where comfort, dignity and independence matter most. Our caring staff and volunteers have enriched the lives of thousands of older South Australians and their carers. Thank you for putting your trust in Resthaven. If you or someone you love needs welcome support at home, we're here to help. Visit resthaven.asn.au, celebrating 90 years.
The SUV you haven't met yet. A Motor JQ has arrived, and Morford Vale is the only place you'll find them. Premium looks, smart tech, designed for beach getaways, back road breaks, and school runs with flair. Plus an 8-year warranty and Australia's first future price promise. You won't just love the ride, you'll love the peace of mind. Only available at a Motor JQ Morford Vale. Built for this wild life. Wildly cool. Main South Road. T's and C's apply.
Our place is your place at the Albion Hotel. Your place to raise a glass to a big sporting win, a milestone birthday, or just making it through the week. Cheers. Your place to bring the entire family, including the kids and grandkids, for an amazing meal together. Your place to sit back and just soak it all in. The Albion Hotel. Your local, your people, your place.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
At 8 minutes to 5, we've got Coach's Corner coming up very, very shortly. And Nathan Basset, he will be joining us at 5:25 tonight. He is now the new coach of the West Adelaide Sample League side, which is a very interesting piece of news coming out today. So we'll find out the thoughts around that. And your calls, 8223 0000. But we want to give you a chance to get in the running for this Vintec wine cabinet, valued at over $4,000. Just tell us what this iconic grand final moment is.
Dash goes down, picked up by Marion. Marion hooks it up in front of the goal.
Okay. Russell's at Toorak Gardens.
Ned's going,
I'm at a bit of a loss here, Russell. Help us.
We got to Russell?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 1973 Grand Final, Glenelg, North Adelaide, and I didn't know what the question was, but I since found out it's who kicked the goal, and I'm going to take a punt. It's probably, unfortunately, Graham Corn.
Well done, Russell.
Unfortunately, Russell, come on, he's one of 5AA's own.
Yeah. But he talks himself up, doesn't he?
Let's have a listen to the whole moment.
Dash goes down, picked up by Marion. Marion hooks it up in front of the goal. He's scored! He's 25, 30 metres from the goal, 45-degree angle, and if he can kick this to Bays back in front, hasn't kicked the goal all day, failure finish. He's back to through. The base goes back to the front.
Unbelievable. They won by a point.
Well done, Russ.
Well, he got up.
Yeah, it's good effort. You should go back and watch some of Graham's old tapes.
I should.
Yeah,
I like Graham.
Oh, didn't say you didn't.
Yeah,
but
what are you
at least
implying?
get up with the times and watch some. YouTube's a wonderful thing, Ned.
One time, because Graham was critical of me in my playing career at times for being a bit erratic, which was absolutely justified and fair. And one time he came in and spoke to the whole playing group, and he said, "And where's that little Ned Henry? You're all right down there." I said, "It's McHenry, Graham." No, he's a good man.
Ned Henry. Let's go to our callers. Barry at Manapara.
Hello, good afternoon, boys. Welcome to the new FIVEAA Sports Show, Neddy and the Campo.
Hello, Barry.
That's your new title. Tex and the Fog. Tex, why would anybody even think about losing Tex for this next 12 months based on his full season this year? You've got to keep him. He's absolute value in every way, in shape and form. The Fog, unfortunately, we've seen what the Fog can do, but we don't see it enough. Tex demands the ball. If Fog wants to be replacing Tex, he has to demand the ball. And the rest of the team should honour the Fog's lead by putting the ball out in front or on his chest, not 12 feet in the air. He's not 6'73". You know, they put the ball up there expecting to jump 20 feet in the air and mark the ball. Put the ball out in front the way they used to the guy from Hawthorn.
Gunston?
Yes, they used to put the ball out in front. He would mark the ball out in front or on his chest. He never used to take many speckies.
Yeah.
Then he kicks goals. Well, we know the Fog can kick a ball 70 metres and kick goals. But give the guy a chance. Put the ball out in front and let him. He must demand that space. He's got to demand that space, and the players in the team have to honour that by getting the ball to him so he can kick some goals.
Yeah, no, good call, Barry. Yeah, don't disagree with that. I think for majority of the year, I think he was pretty good at that, Fog. I think most of them, Riley Thilthorpe comes at the ball carrier. Tex often plays a little bit higher, and then Riley and Fog play that little bit deeper role. But I guess it's a little bit about how the speed of the ball and where it turns over and those sort of things. But, yeah, I think Fog, not so good in the finals, but I thought he had a really solid year.
But chicken and the egg too, right? Like the Adelaide Crows didn't enter the footy that well in the finals, did they? So
and limited opportunities.
Exactly.
Well below
and
par.
that's to Barry's point of it. Good call.
Yeah. Pete at Whites Valley.
Yeah, g'day, boy. Yeah, no, I'm not in Whites Valley. I'm in Blackhall in Queensland at the minute.
Okay.
Anyway.
Gone from Whites to Blacks.
Ned and Campo, hey?
Well, you've gone from Whites Valley to now, where are you, Black somewhere?
Blackhall in Queensland.
Oh, that's ironic, isn't it? Two coloured suburbs.
Yeah.
Sorry about that,
Anyway.
Pete. Keep going.
No, that's all right. No, I got 2 points. Tex should play on. Give him another year. Don't play him every game. Like, think about where you're going to go in the state. Think, Tex, we're not going to fly you. We're going to do this. Ease him into the season. Look after him. And the other thing about Petracca is $1.7 million. And you say you've got to give up this draft pick, this draft pick, this draft pick. No, you tell Melbourne, go bugger you. We're going to take on a high-value amount of money. So we're going to free up money in your club. We'll give you 1 first-round draft pick, not 2, 1, because we're going to take salary cap off you, which is going to help you pay more people or attract other people. So that's my 2 points on that.
Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, and that's what the conversation we're having. What would you give up? What are you prepared to give up? Yeah. And, obviously, Pete's not that happy with 1.7. Now, you could probably work your way around that and say, look, we're not prepared to pay 1.7. We're maybe 1.2 or whatever, but the cap obviously increases over time as well. It's an interesting one around the draft picks because you're getting a 29-year-old 30 next year.
In January, yep.
And you're sitting there going, geez, your first rounders, when I was involved in list management, Ned, is they should be 10-year, 200-game players. And that's essentially what you're sort of giving up.
How you value them.
Yeah, and that's what you're sort of giving up. So, but you've also got to weigh up needs at that point in now. And as a coach, you're here for the now, but you've also got to think about the future. Well, and that's a balancing act.
Well, you can trade 2 years into the future now, and Adelaide have first-round picks this year with pick 14, next year and the year after at this stage on the table to use. So will they use it? Would you use it? 8223 0000 is the number you can get in the running for that grand final package. Straight after the 5 o'clock news, it's Coach's Corner.
When you're finally free to explore, don't buy someone else's idea of a road trip. At Lonsdale Marine and RV, every van we sell is customised to how you want to travel travel. Off-grid power, bigger fridge, smart storage, stronger suspension. Whatever your journey needs, we'll build it in. At Lonsdale Marine and RV, we're passionate campers too, so we know what works. Hit the road your way at Lonsdale Marine and RV, 30 Donegal Road, Lonsdale.
Now this is a fine drop, a rare beauty. The nose is balanced and versatile, offering something for every occasion. The palate is complex, curated for both connoisseurs and casual enthusiasts alike. And there's the unmistakable presence of generations dedicated to the craft, with an impressive vintage of 50 years. The name on the label is FIVEAA. 3 generations celebrating 50 years. FIVEAA, your local independent SA family liquor store since 1975.
Hi, I'm Steve Wormald from Walco Liners and Covers out at Petracca. We're a manufacturing business. We'd never done radio. Contacted FIVEAA and were teed up with James Wellham. After I touched base with James, we had a meeting. We also got hooked up with Creative from FIVEAA. I had a strategy on timing of the ads. I didn't have really any clue on the content of the ad. So Creative, and I was trusting. I don't know anything about content, and I just said, go for your life. Do whatever you want. And I think you've got to do that. When you come to AA, Creative, let them do their job, which is exactly what we did. We just went, go for it.
To get your message out there and grow your business, visit 5AA.com.au and hit the Advertise With Us link for more information.
If only your favourite sneaky snack lasted longer.
Mum, can I have some too?
Yep. Cadbury Dairy Milk Chocolate Coated Sticks. So good, they're guaranteed not to last. Find them in the ice cream freezer.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower tonight and partly cloudy and 17 tomorrow. With the 5 o'clock news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
As finals footy gets tougher, nothing's built tougher than TJM 4x4, Nailsworth, Ranella and now Mount Gambier.
A fresh search for missing Port Lincoln woman Susan Goodwin has wound up for the day. Major crime detectives, with the assistance of the AFP and special radar equipment, scoured a backyard in Premier Court, Port Lincoln. While the results are still being analysed, it is expected some areas of the property will need to be excavated. Susan Goodwin was reported missing in July 2002 from her home a street away. Police believe she's been murdered. Investigations are continuing into what caused a deadly Sydney gas leak, which killed a 25-year-old man and left 6 others in hospital. Police say the owner of the Riverstone restaurant and his son raised the alarm over what's believed to have been a carbon monoxide leak. Assistant Police Commissioner Gavin Wood has praised 5 police officers who were among those receiving treatment after trying to save the man's life.
They've put their own lives at risk going into the environment, commencing CPR, trying to save this young man's life, and now they are themselves subject to medical intervention. So I just want to acknowledge that and acknowledge again the great work that the Fire Brigade and the ambulance have done here.
Health and disability support workers have taken their fight for a pay rise directly to the Premier today. They rallied outside his office at Welland after rejecting the government's latest offer. United Workers Union Secretary Demi Nevmatikos says some workers are living below the poverty line.
The latest offer from the government is not good enough. It fails to address the immediate and urgent cost of living issues.
Social media giants will face almost $50 million in penalties if they fail to comply with an upcoming ban. From the 10th of December, children under 16 will not be allowed to have accounts. Under fresh guidelines, the companies will need to deactivate underage accounts and prevent children bypassing restrictions. Communications Minister Annika Wells says there's no excuse for platforms which are underprepared.
We will always keep backing Australian families and keeping Australian kids safe. We cannot control the ocean, but we can police the sharks. And today we are making clear to the rest of the world how we intend to do this.
Australia's hoping it can ratify a defence treaty with Papua New Guinea by tomorrow after the agreement hit a last-minute setback. The deal's yet to be signed off by the Papua New Guinea Cabinet. It's understood some MPs are privately concerned the agreement could breach PNG's sovereignty. And new research has found using sunscreen every day decreases a person's vitamin D. Monique Dews reports.
Researchers from QIMR Berghofer studied a group of daily sunscreen wearers and a placebo group who did not use it. It found within a year, 46% of users had a vitamin D deficiency, compared to just 37% for non-users. Research lead Professor Rachel Neal says vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption, strong bones and healthy immunity. And she suggests taking vitamin D tablets as a potential solution.
Vitamin D supplements are safe, cheap and effective.
She says supplements are available for less than 10 cents a day.
Now I'm turning to 5AA Sport.
Whether your block's the size of Adelaide Oval or the Gold Square, customise your build with Sterling Homes.
Veteran Taylor Walker is still weighing up whether to play on next season after his exit meeting with the Crows. The 35-year-old says he still hasn't got a timeline on when he'll make his decision, but Lockie Murphy's future has been decided for him. He's been delisted. Adam Trolor has re-signed with the Western Bulldogs for next season. The 32-year-old midfielder was made to wait for a call on his future amid a poor run of injuries. After making the All-Australian team last year, Trolor managed only 4 senior games this season. Another AFL captain could be on the move. Jordan Tunbridge explains.
Jai Simpkin is the latest AFL captain to find themselves in trade discussions. The 27-year-old is reportedly unhappy with the lack of midfield time at North Melbourne and exploring his options. He's contracted with the Kangaroos for another 4 seasons and is yet to request a trade. It follows Essendon captain Zach Merritt weighing up a switch to Hawthorn and West Coast skipper Oscar Allen eyeing a move to Brisbane. Hawks leader James Sicily says times have changed and anyone is fair game as clubs look to improve their lists.
You'd be kicking yourself if you didn't take meetings with players that hold leadership positions, and that's going to help you get better. So I suppose it's just the new normal and we're going to have to get used to it.
Gout will be targeting a new national record when he runs his heat of the 200 metres tomorrow night at the Athletics World Championships in Tokyo. The 17-year-old wanting to break 20 seconds for the first time.
There's that sub-20 barrier I'm aiming for as well. So obviously when I get that, it will obviously break the record as well. So I'm just aiming to run faster than I ever have.
And Curtis Marshall has won Australia's first medal of the meet, taking out the bronze in the men's pole vault. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building, still at 412 North East Road.
At Torrensville, a crash, Henley Beach Road near Hardings Road. Eastwood, another collision, Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Lane restrictions in place there. And Globe Derby Park, a breakdown, the north-south motorway near Globe Derby Drive. Cameras this afternoon, Addison Road, Pennington and Days Road at Croydon Park. Amy's helping Aussie drivers with stats on road safety. Search Amy Crash Index. Data source is AAI Limited Motor Insurance Claims nationally, 1224 to 28225. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Possible shower tonight and partly cloudy tomorrow, a top of 17. Partly cloudy for Thursday, 23, and then showers for Friday, 18. At the moment, 15. Now let's see what's happening on 9 News tonight.
I'm Brenton Raglis. Tonight, the SA police worker under investigation over a social media post celebrating the Charlie Kirk shooting. What Taylor Walker had to say following his exit interview. Find out how the teenage social media ban will work. We go inside Hague's new Northern Suburbs chocolate factory and the hidden side effect of sunscreen. 9 News, your news. Night at 6 on 9 and on 9 Now.
Buying or selling in Adelaide? Think Slattery Auctions. Every week our car auctions are packed with quality vehicles ready to drive away. Plus our truck, trailer and machinery auctions deliver big results across transport, farming and construction. With 25 years experience, Slattery connects buyers and sellers nationwide with transparent auctions, expert valuations and trusted service. Find us at Boland Street, Kilkenny or online at slatteryauctions.com.au. Slattery Auctions Adelaide, the smarter way to buy and sell.
When the mornings start getting warmer and the sun rises a little bit earlier, the dream you let lie dormant over winter wakes. It's time to start with Olympic Industries Spring Sale. Huge savings on locally engineered verandas, carports, garages, tool sheds and more. Start building your dream now. And one day you'll look back at where it all started. In your own backyard. with Olympic Industries Spring Sale. On now.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA. Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry. The 5AA Sports Show.
Yeah, bit new look on this Tuesday. It is 9 minutes after 5. Still to come in the show. We're going to speak to the new Port Adelaide assistant, Luke Webster, at 5:30. We'll get to meet him. We'll get to meet West Adelaide's brand new Sample League coach too. Nathan Basset is coming back to the State League. And Mark Bosnich with the Champions League and the Premier League really ramping up now. That is a lot of fun later on tonight. Plus your calls. That's the best part of the program. 8223 0000. And the even best part for you is every caller that gets to air is on the standby list for flights, accommodation and tickets to the 2025 AFL Grand Final. So get involved with the show. 1 hour in. Neddy, Campo, going okay?
How are things kind of tracking at this point?
Well, I think okay. We've got our first bit of feedback, though.
Oh, what?
Yeah, here we go from Des. Thanks very much, mate. Appreciate that. Hey, Nufties, any chance of reporting Petracca accurately? There is other clubs named as possible options, not just the Crows. Well, if you listen, Des, we know that there's other clubs there. We're just saying that there's a potential that he might be interested in coming across to Adelaide. We didn't say it's solely Adelaide, but the question is what would you be willing to give up, and would he be a nice fit? So
I think that's well said.
Let's see.
Cop that, Des.
Let's get stuck into this.
On the 5AA Sports Show, this is Coach's Corner with Scott Camporeale. Thanks to Unique Homestyle Foods, proudly baking for hundreds of South Australian businesses for 35 years. Greatness in the making.
It's insightful, it's informative, it's accurate. It's my favourite segment on radio. It is Coach's Corner. And before I get to you, Campo, I just want to touch on what Matthew Nix had to say about the Crows' form heading into finals.
What we were really pleased with, we just found a way when the form wasn't quite there. Now, I think, again, looking at finals footy, you're going to have to play to a certain level. Tonight, yes, some of our fundamentals were at a level that we can't explain that level.
They found a way. They found a way through the minor season, which they did. But my question is, how can one of the most potent scoring sides in the competition, one of the most complete offensive sides in the competition, Campo, kick scores of 55 and 67 points respectively in their two finals?
Well, the short answer, Ned, is they played the best two defensive teams other than themselves, and that's what you get in finals, don't you? So good teams, good coaches, at this time of the year, they take away your strengths. And people have had a pretty good look at Adelaide over the journey. And I think what happens too, Ned, and you've been involved in footy clubs, when you play really well against teams and everything's humming, it's really easy to see for the opposition scouts or the opposition coach to go, I know exactly what Adelaide are trying to do here. And so they got scouted really well by two really good coaches. So Craig McRae's been there and done it. Wonderful opposition coach taking away your strengths. Chris Scott, no question, best in the business. Sam Mitchell is down that path as well, and Chris Fagan as well. They take away what you're good at. So we spoke a little bit over the last couple of days from the fallout around, contest, and, they got beaten up around the ball through the middle of the ground. They didn't handle the pressure. But I looked into a little bit more, Ned, around, so clearly there's the contest and then there's offence and defence. They're the three phases, as you know, in the game. So what broke down in some of those phases, particularly in offence and defence? So you would have heard over the course of the year around where Adelaide sit in terms of turnover differential and stoppage differential. So really well, like turnover, number 2 in the competition, outstanding, both offence and defence. Clearance, don't score a lot, but they defend really well. And that was always my issue with them going in. Can they, because finals are more contested and more stoppage-based, can they actually control that part of the game? And the answer was no. But the other thing that got taken away was their turnover, score and against. So I delved into a little bit of that. So stick with me here. So score from stoppage. So just as a breakdown, or scoring from clearance. So they score for. So during the year, they averaged 35 points a game from that source. That ranked them 7th. Scoring against, they only allowed their opposition 28 points a game. So that ranked number 1 in the competition. So they broke even pretty much in that part of the game, but more importantly, didn't allow the opposition teams. Now, I'll preface some of this is, as you know, 60% of your score comes from turnover, 35 from clearance and 5% comes from your kick in. That's the breakdown of your scoring. So that's why when you hear the analysis around, geez, you've got to be a good turnover team and the top 4 teams are good in that area, because 60% of it comes from that phase. Now, Adelaide, you go through into the turnover part of the game, they average 60 points per game this year. That ranked them second across the course of the 24 games. So that ranked them second. When they got scored against, they only averaged 39 points. So your defence is in really good shape. Yeah. So you can see why they were 1 and 2 in those categories. Now, if you have a look at the finals, now you're playing against the best teams. There's more on the line. There's a bit of expectation. Geez, we're not quite, centre bounce was an issue once again, against Hawthorn. So I went down and had a look. Now, yes, there's only 8 teams in it. Then it went to 6. So take these numbers with a little bit of grain of salt, but there's a bit of a theme here. So score from stoppage over the 2 finals games, they only averaged 28 points. So that's automatically, less, 9 points a game, less in a game, so from the scoring. And then from a scoring against point of view, they allowed the opposition 33. So that's another 5 points on top. So there's already a differential in those 2 categories. So that went from, if you take it, once again, that's 6th and 5th out of those 8 teams. So they're bottom 2 in those categories, or bottom 3 in those categories. Then the big one is the turnover game. So we break that down. They averaged 31 points over the 2 games in the final series. So remember the number I gave you for 60. Yeah. So that was
almost half. Yeah.
That was halved in over the 2 finals. That ranked them the bottom 2 in the competition in the final 8. Yeah. Then you go from, okay, well, we didn't score from there, but how did we defend? They averaged 58 points against. So that number on the flip side, 39 versus 58, bottom 2 again in that category. So if you look at those numbers, you're sitting there going, they couldn't win on the basis that they were giving up, they weren't scoring what they were doing, and they were not hemorrhaging, but they were not, in the right frame of mind defensively, or couldn't defend, with which they were really strong at, throughout 2024. So if you have a look at, the net result of that, they were 38 points down, over the course of, this season in those finals games, and plus 24 the opposition they allowed them to score from defence. Does that make sense?
So they're the numbers, and that paints a really clear picture as to what happened. And you spoke about the Crows coming up against some of the best defensive sides. Take us into the coach's box, or take us into Craig McRae's office, or whoever it is. What are the actual tactics, or what are the strategies that they've used to actually create those outcomes?
Yeah, well, let's take the clearance game, for example. So you saw Collingwood, they threw an extra one up around the stoppage, and probably not so much Hawthorn, maybe a little bit of Hawthorn, but they tried to generate, an extra number through there. Both Collingwood and Hawthorn, very, very good clear centre bounce teams. And you saw, the first 3 against Hawthorn were, and we interviewed Nathan Van Burler, and I said, mate, I hope you got your centre bounce, sorted out before the game. Yep. And then it went whack, 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 and it was like he would have been pulling his hair out. There's nothing worse as a midfield coach when you're sitting there going, we've done all this prep, this is plan A, this is plan B, and you just get beat, which is unfortunate. So part of it was around how they set up, and I think if you take the Collingwood game, for example, when they played Max Ford, Michael Annie Ford, and he was trying to, I guess, get to Dacos or Pendlebury or whatever, they just manipulated Collingwood as good as anyone. And Geelong, you've played in games when Tom Stewart's just had, and you've played even numbers at times, but they're too good at manipulating.
Well, they have strategies, right? All these good teams, correct. I mean, they're not stupid. They know that you're going to come in and try and take away their best players. They have plan A, plan B, and plan C for when that occurs, right?
Well, and then you throw in the pressure that Collingwood applied and Adelaide didn't. And, we heard, through the grapevines around, let's get it forward. Let's make sure we get some field position early. Let's see if we can put them under pressure. But that caused some issues. And then when Darcy Moore has, a day out in terms of intercept, and then Collingwood, who are very good at the turnover game, they just got ripped through from that part of the game. And then you look at Hawthorn, very similar. They got beaten up around the clearance battle, and they were able to feast not so much on the turnover game, which they did pretty well, but I think the Hawthorn game was different in the fact that they got front half and then turned it over in their front half and then were able to go back in, and you saw Gunston and these guys hit the scoreboard because of the amount of entries. So, and then if you look at over the course of the year, then Adelaide averaged about 54, 55 entries a game. they only had 50 and 43 in the two games. So you're looking at, we're criticising Fogg and, these guys ahead of the ball. They didn't get the supply or the service that they had previously. And the quality of the
entries
too. And that's essentially, in a nutshell, things that they'll have to work on. But they did it. Those numbers, if you're looking at the home and away, you're there going, and that's why I guess we're all pretty bullish around, because those numbers were in really good shape. But there is an opposition, and it's a final series that you got to contend with, and that'll be the learning lesson out of it.
Yeah. I just want to double-click on that centre bounce and the clearance battle with Hawthorn, because that, as you said, early in the game was a massive factor. I know Berry went to Newcombe early, didn't he, and looked to do the job tagging him. At centre bounce, what are some of the considerations around having a strict tag so someone goes to a player versus actually having a system and backing that in?
Yeah, it's the old conversation about tagging, isn't it? And you've been in our midfield meetings around, geez, we don't want to get pulled apart because, all of a sudden we're one down, so now it's, Newcombe, Warple, and who else is going through that midfield that played there on the way? Nash, yeah. Versus now it's just Dawson, and Saligo because Berry's now tied up. So now you're one mid down trying to generate ball through the middle of the ground. Centre bounce, I've always never liked tagging at centre bounce because I think you get pulled apart because it's a 50 by 5, 50 metre square. But what you need to do is not allow them out the front, which happened a few times. They allowed Adelaide Hawthorn to come out the front and got deep entries with 6v6 with the new rule, and they just got burnt.
Well, Campo's Coach's Corner, pretty comprehensive. You can have your say around what your thoughts are from how they bundled out of finals. The Crows, 8223 0000 is our number. It's all thanks to Unique Homestyle Foods, who've been proudly baking for hundreds of South Australian businesses, large and small, for 35 years. They are hustlers in the baking industry. Maddie and the team visit uniquehomestylefoods.com.au. We'll take a quick break. We'll check your traffic. And then on the other side of this, Nathan Basset, who has joined West Adelaide, the Bloods, as their head coach for 2026.
Afternoon at Eastwood, a crash, Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Still got delays through there at the moment. Another collision at Torrensville, Henley Beach Road near Hardies Road, and Globe Derby Park, a breakdown the north-south motorway near Globe Derby Drive. Busy South Road, Edwardstown slow, Bryson Road, Glenelg East with the camera Main North Road at Enfield. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA-approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The NDIS does more than support individuals with disabilities. It paves the way for extraordinary people to thrive. 5AA puts the spotlight on great NDIS companies like ADL Support Services. They're a business big enough to rely on, but small enough to know your name. Find your joy. Find your yes. Find your place at adlsupportservices.com.au. Keep listening for more great NDIS companies changing lives across SA on Adelaide's 5AA.
If you're serious about making a big difference to your outdoor entertaining area, get in touch with Big Difference Home Improvements. Everything they do makes a big difference. From outdoor blinds and roller shutters to verandas, pergolas, carports and stunning decks. Big Difference Home Improvements can help you make the most of your space all year round. Visit bigdifference.com.au for a free measuring quote. Don't just make a difference, make a big difference. Visit bigdifference.com.au.
Win $10,000 a day in the St. John Christmas Home Lottery. Get your tickets before midnight tonight to be in tomorrow's Cash-Timber draw. Your ticket also goes in the incredible $5 million grand prize package draw, where you can choose a stunning waterside home in Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne or the Gold Coast. There's also 10,000 other prizes to be won in the $7.5 million prize pool. Hurry, the final Cash-Timber draw closes midnight September 25th. Buy your tickets now at stjohnlottery.com.au. Licence M14834. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Here's some terrific news about one of our favourite locals, Gallipo Foods. Geez, they're good. Get this. Gallipo Foods has just taken out the award for 2025 Best Food Service Distributor in the whole of Australia.
Yeah, listen to this, Ned. That's the Gallipo's sixth time for winning it. Six. What an amazing achievement from a proud South Aussie family-owned company. That's premiership level stuff right there, mate.
And you would know. And they're not just sitting back either. Gallipo's just launched their brand new app, making it even easier for their customers to order from over 10,000 different food products.
10,000 food products.
10,000,
That's a big warehouse.
What?
That's like having every game day snack, pub meal and cafe treat you can think of all sorted.
Congrats again to Gallipo Foods, awarded Australia's Best Food Service Distributor.
At Harvey Norman, buy now with no deposit 16 months interest-free on a participating Latitude credit card and get a bonus gift card up to $1,000. Furniture, bedding, TVs, fridges, computers and more. Shop with no deposit 16 months interest-free from Latitude Financial Services and get a bonus $100 gift card for every $1,000 you spend. Monthly credit card fee currently $10.95 applies. New customers must be approved. Minimum finance $1,000. Equal monthly payment plan, T's and C's, charges and exclusions. Don't miss no deposit 16 months interest-free from Latitude at Harvey Norman now.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 90 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
Sorry to interrupt, but Binge Basic is now just $4.99 a month for 12 months. Don't have Binge? Sign up before October 20 at binge.com.au/satisfied. Binge. Now that's satisfying.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
It's 24 minutes after 5. Luke Webster, the new assistant coach at Port Adelaide, is going to join us at 5:30. A little bit of player movement news today. So Lockie Murphy has been officially delisted from the Adelaide Football Club in just the last minute, and so has Carl Gallagher. He won't be offered a new contract next year. The Irishman, so that is some news. And also, just in regards to Sam Draper, it's come out in the last 15 minutes that he has officially nominated Brisbane as his new home and joined as an unrestricted free agent. So that won't be happening with the Crows now, that discussion around Sam Draper.
A lot of moving and shaking. Well, our next guest's been through it all as a coach and as a player. We welcome Nathan Basset, who's landed the new job at West Adelaide. Bass, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, how did that come about? You obviously finished up at Melbourne at the end of the year. Were you looking to come home?
Yeah, we're sort of looking at it a little bit during the season. It was, I moved over there by myself, so my family stayed here.
Yep.
And it was an interesting year at Melbourne, and there's some, I guess, challenges from a work perspective, but I really enjoyed the role working with Simon for the coaching group. It was a really good group to work with. But I was probably living in a combination of people's couches to Airbnbs to house sitting. It was a different sort of challenge.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back, and I'm sure West Adelaide are rapt to get you back. You coached the Redlegs back-to-back flags in 2012 and 2013. You've always loved the SANFL, and like West Adelaide obviously looking to, I guess, reinvent themselves, and no better appointment than yourself.
Yeah, they've had a tough 10 years. They were one of our biggest rivals when I coached. I thought Andy Collins did a great job with West Adelaide in the sort of 2008 through to 2013, and getting guys to want to play SNFL and stick at it. And he didn't lose players to other clubs or to the amateur league. And one of the positives coming back is West have pretty strong juniors. Currently, the 16s won the flag.
Yeah.
The 18s made the grand final. The 14s are strong, so we can start to push some of those younger people through. And I think there's enough talent, and I haven't watched as much of them, but I've spoken to some people that have watched some footy of West, where there's opportunities for us to get better.
Nathan, congratulations. I enjoyed reading the statement after your appointment, and you were really clear. I love reading, I'm here to break the cycle. What are your philosophies as a head coach, and how do you actually plan on achieving that?
Yeah, I think it's the way you change the behaviours and actions of the playing group. One of the challenges at West is, players, supporters have been operating without hope for a while. It's hard when you don't see light at the end of the tunnel. And some of my first conversations were, what's the pathway forward? Because SNFL clubs are, you're relying on a combination of juniors and finances. And if you haven't got either, then you're in a lot of trouble. But it was good to chat to the president and the board around the pathway forward. It's been great since getting the job to hear from a different community. You know, I've had lots of contact with the Nord community over my life, Crows people, but to tap into a different football community and probably a supporter base that have been, really wanting some success and some change. And, it's a challenge when you get caught in that sort of almost don't have enough money, don't have enough players. For good reasons, players want to go. But if we can break that cycle and get people to stay and start to remember what winning feels like, and we've got juniors that have been winning games and they're bringing enthusiasm to the senior squad, then we start to build a football club and a foundation of a footy club that can be much stronger and, achieve whatever we, basically be the best versions of ourselves.
Campo mentioned your long-standing connection to the SANFL. Have you continued to watch the competition, and how have you seen it evolve, and what style of game do you think actually wins SANFL flags now?
Yeah, I worked in the SNFL last year with Nord as their coaching director, so I was able to see it across all the age groups. And look, watching the finals, I think there's some really good standard of players. The top 10 players in each club are very, very good footballers, and Sturt, Glenelg, Nord played strong footy. Adelaide have had a very good season, so Centrals have been better. So those top sides have been very good, but there's been a real gap between them and the rest of the competition. So there is that gap for us to bridge. It's going to be. I'm not underestimating how significant that is, but there's lots of things in football that are free that we can work on to get better, both at training and on the field, and that don't cost us any money, and they're the things we focus on so that we can keep getting better.
Well, Nathan, thanks for your time, mate. All the very best. I'm sure the West Adelaide supporters out there will be absolutely rapt to have someone of your credentials, what you've been able to do, both SANFL and AFL. All the best, mate. We hope to chat to you during next year.
Thank you.
Nathan Basset. So let's hear from the Westie supporters out there. How much extra hope does this fill you with for the new season?
Wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
They'd be absolutely pumped.
That is a really great appointment. 3-year deal for Nathan Basset at the Bloods. It's time for the 5:30 headlines. Port supporters next. Luke Webster to join you. He's the new assistant coach of the Power.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Good afternoon, I'm Kendall Brettig. Angry health and disability support workers have converged on the Premier's office at Welland this afternoon demanding a pay rise. Police have renewed the search for Susan Goodwin in Port Lincoln after she disappeared in 2002. Social media giants will face a $50 million penalty if they fail to comply with an upcoming ban. And the exit meetings have continued at the Adelaide Crows today, with Tex Walker still undecided about his future. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Charmin Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building, still at 412 North East Road.
Afternoon at Eastwood, delays clearing from that earlier crash, Glen Osmond Road near Kenilworth Road. Slow for works at Bedford Park at the moment, Sturt Road near Bradley Grove, and busy at Nova Gardens, the ongoing works at Anzac Highway near Morford Road. Cameras today, Bridge Road, Salisbury, Eastern Days Road at Croydon Park. It's the everyday moments that matter most when your child is ill or injured. You can help family life carry on at Ronald McDonald House. Donate today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
A possible shower tonight and then partly cloudy tomorrow, a high of 17. At the moment, 15. More news at 6 o'clock on 5AA, always Adelaide.
How many Australians are likely to qualify for the Los Angeles Olympic Games?
David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Due to changes in the process that, well, for want of a better term, democratised the process of competing in elite sport.
Adelaide leading breakfast show.
Isn't the very definition faster, higher, stronger? It's not faster, higher, stronger, inclusiver.
5AA breakfast.
The whole point of the Olympics is to recognise who is the very best in the world at something.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
This Thursday, September 18, is International Cheeseburger Day at Macca's. Or as we like to call it, Free Cheeseburger Day. Spend just $1 on the My Macca's app and get a free cheeseburger. This Thursday only. Excludes McDelivery. See an app for details.
The kitchen is your studio, and Simpson's Pantry wraps and flatbreads, the canvas for culinary creation. Simpson's Pantry has all bases covered, literally. Pizza bases, naan, roti, souvlaki breads, and of course, back-to-back CanStar award-winning wraps. Your launchpad to Tasty Town. Refresh, remix, and wrap it up with Simpson's Pantry. You'll be absolutely wrapped. Simpson's Pantry.
Tyre Power's footy final sale gives you the power to buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Toyo tyres. Tackle road safety this September thanks to Toyo tyres and Tyre Power. Visit tyrepower.com.au.
It's spring. Time to freshen up more than just your house. At Wayville Hyundai, spring in for a spring service and get 10% off when you book online. Enjoy faster bookings, a full service, free wash and vacuum, plus the benefit of flexible payments with Afterpay available. It's the easiest spring clean and service you'll ever do. Book your service at wayvillehyundai.com.au/service to receive 10% off. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai.
If only your favourite frozen treat lasted as long as a traffic jam. Escape with Cadbury Dairy Milk chocolate-coated sticks. So good, they're guaranteed not to last. Find them in the ice cream freezer.
September is Savings Month. For great tasting endless water at the best possible price, call Puritap now on 133502. It's a quality product manufactured right here in SA at the best possible price. The sun's coming back and September is Savings Month at Puritap. Don't waste time searching, call Puritap now. 133502. If it's price and quality you want, call Puritap now. 133502. We could be in your area this week.
Rosanna Managerial here on 7 News. The moment a child's birthday party erupts into a wild knife fight. An SA cop investigated for celebrating the Charlie Kirk assassination, and Tex Walker responds to retirement calls.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
It's 25 minutes to 6. We love taking your calls. Got lots of time up to 6 o'clock to take them. 8223 0000. And remember, if you're part of the show, you get on air, you're on the standby list straight away to get those flights, accommodation and tickets to the grand final, which we'll give away very, very soon. But right now, let's head to Alberton, all thanks to Sharman Shelving, who have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building at 412 North East Road.
Yeah, Nettie, there's lots of change coming over down at Alberton over the next few weeks. Our next guest is locked in for 2026 and beyond, and he's going to be a sidekick for Josh Carr in his start as a senior coach. And we welcome Luke Webster. Welcome, Luke.
G'day, gents. Thanks a lot for having me.
So where do you start, mate? You come over, you're still in Perth, or we see it was a bit of a whirlwind trip just to do some media, or when do you officially move over with yourself and the family?
Yeah, I'm actually just out at the airport at the moment, about to head back to Perth. But, we came over for a couple of days to have a bit of a look around and meet a few people and obviously get some of the media stuff out of the way, which was really great. But, myself and my wife, Samantha, are looking to probably head over mid-October, and then I think the first lot of the playing group's back on about the 10th of November. So a couple of weeks on deck before the group gets back and ready and raring to go.
Well, you were an experienced coach now, mate. You've been in the system a fair while. You started with development at the Blues and then went back home to the Eagles. Do you like the development side of it, or do you like being the assistant coach side of it?
I like all of it, really. Still as an assistant coach, I love the fact that you get into the nitty-gritty of game plans and strategy and, how you work your way through different opposition and how you sort of try and pick them apart of how best you think your game style is going to go against them and how to beat them. But I still love the hands-on coaching side of things. That's probably one of my biggest strengths is actually getting out there and working on the craft and helping players develop and understand what their strengths are and how you really sharpen them up, but then also still continue to work on the areas of the game that they need to get better at.
Luke, congratulations. For someone who hasn't been involved in a transition like this, can you give us some insight or take us into how important it is to have someone like Josh Carr there, someone you know and someone you've spent a lot of time with? Clearly that was a factor of the decision.
Yeah, certainly. It certainly played a part. Obviously playing with Carr and knowing what he was like, one as a teammate, one as a mate, but the values he lived by as a player, and I've seen that come through in his coaching. And that's, when you're looking at different opportunities to further your own coaching career, you look at what guys are out there and guys that you've connected with and the values that they live by. And, that was a big part of that. But also looking at, what I've mentioned before around, Port are in a bit of a change. Obviously, Kari coming on as a new senior coach, but a bit of list turnover. They've got the nucleus of that group and the playing list is still very strong and one group that can actually continue to keep pushing forward, but there's obviously a lot of young kids coming through as well too. So it's just another great opportunity to be a part of the new chapter of the Port Adelaide Football Club.
Absolutely. You're mentioning that change, but I did see you say that Port were always a hard team to coach against, which I found really interesting. Why was that? What was it about Ken, and do you expect much to change after his departure?
Yeah, look, I haven't sat down with Kari fully just yet and worked out exactly the ins and outs of his whole game plan. He's obviously given me some ideas, and I'm sure he'll have his own way of doing things, and which would be completely different to Ken. But, as I have said, it's every time we did play Port, whether when I was playing against them and or coaching against them, they've always been a challenge. One thing they really challenge us with is they've got a great midfield depth, but the way they move their ball from their back half and lock the ball in their front half with their defensive actions in their real strong years is something that's been a real highlight, and that's something I'm really looking forward to being able to help coach those guys and really knuckle down in that space to get us back to, that really strong defensive team, but a real offensive threat as well.
And Luke, it sounds like you're going to look after the backs and the defensive part of the game, is that right?
Yeah, at this stage that's what it's looking like. Having a good chat to Kari and sort of where I've been coaching the last couple of years, obviously doing the backs and the team defence. It's something I've really enjoyed and, I'm really passionate about. It's something that I'm looking forward to doing at Port.
And so the next question, the obvious question is, when you announce a midfield coach, I'm not sure you have got one yet, what's the conversation about whether you get Connor Rosey at half-back versus a midfield?
I'm already starting to
Good work.
Put a few little irons in the fire with him and obviously Miles Bergman as well too.
Yeah.
So trying to get a few of those guys back at half-back because, I love good attacking half-backs and I really love their moves that they did at that stage. And unfortunately, I think Connor ended up getting, might have against us where he hurt his hand and then missed a few weeks with some illness as well too. So probably didn't see the best of him down at half-back. But, I think he adds value wherever he plays. Like a number of those guys, there's a number of guys in that team that can be, half-back, wing, on ball, half-forward, which is what you want. You want multiple guys that can play in multiple roles and pull a lever when you need to. So, it's going to be a really exciting time for this list moving forward.
Do you mould the players that are there to your system, do you, Luke, or do you actually bring in a fresh system and expect those players to adapt to that?
Yeah, look, obviously, as I said, Kari will have his own way of doing things. And as a coaching group, once we get completely finalised, we'll sit down and I'm sure we'll spend a couple of weeks together of really nutting out the way that Kari would like to do things. And, there's probably stuff that's worked at Port over the last couple of years that they'll still maintain. But I'm guessing in my own mind is that there's going to be some change in the way we do some things and how you play. And then it's about how you continue to get the group that's done a Ken Hinkley way for 13 years, how you continue to get them to play the way that you want and get them to buy into the actions that you want to see each week. And that's going to be the challenge of the coaching group and the playing group to learn potentially some new ways of playing and some new ideas of doing things.
Well, knowing Josh and played against him, I would expect a fair bit of increase around the contest there, Luke. But Showdown versus Derby, you're going to have a crack at that next year. It's a big week that we have here twice a year.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Obviously, there is the Western Derby that I've been a part of for a long time. But, really looking forward to the showdown. And, I think what I've known over the years from coaching against Port, but obviously watching and sitting back on the couch when I've watched the showdowns is the passionate Port Adelaide supporters that are really passionate about their club and turn up each week to continue to keep cheering their team on. So I'm really looking forward to that, which is going to be a great experience to have.
Well, I've experienced about 10 years of them, mate. So it's either windows up or windows down, mate, if you win or lose. So that's normally what's happened. And you'll get a fair bit of feedback getting a coffee on Monday morning as well.
I'm sure I will. I look forward to
it. State of Origin's coming back. You're at WA. You represented the state. Good thing or bad thing?
Yeah, I like it. I think if you can find the right time for it to be put in place, I think it's always a good thing for the game of AFL. Obviously, everyone's passionate about their own team, but when you get state versus state, I think it also adds a little bit more. And you see that with the state of origin, obviously in the rugby, and I think it's certainly got a place in the game, and looking forward to seeing where that lands.
West Coast have obviously gone through a patch of lean wins, Luke, if that's fair and right to say. We often hear from coaches that have recently won premierships and we absorb the information. What do you actually learn from a team when you're struggling and things aren't so good?
Yeah, look, I think a big part of it is you look at how your processes are done. Obviously, West Coast were challenged for a fair bit of the time that I was there, and the last couple of years have been pretty lean from a win point of view, and they are certainly going through a change with the list change and becoming more of a development team. So you learn a lot about your players that are there and the capabilities that they have, and you obviously reflect on the times that you were successful and what things worked. Does that work with the playing group you got now? So there's lots of things to learn, even though the win-loss column was not in the direction that club would have liked. But there's a lot to learn. You can learn a lot about kids of how they work their way through difficult times, how resilient they are through whether it's injuries or the lack of form, or guys that really knuckle down and go, look, I want to get better at my craft. I want to get better at my game, not just go along for the ride. So there's lots to learn, and, there would have been some great learnings, obviously, for Port this year. Obviously, they had a lot of guys that were injured. They got some guys that games through those injuries that now got a little bit more experience. So they're only going to be better for that going forward.
Well, Luke, we won't hold you up. You need to get on that plane to get back home to Perth. But thanks for your time, mate. We really appreciate it. Look forward to speaking to you more throughout 2026, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks a lot for having me on. And, look forward to chatting to you guys throughout the year.
Luke Webster, our guest.
Exciting new prospect for Port Adelaide fans, and all thanks to Sharman Shelving, who have moved their showroom next door to the big white building at 412 North East Road. Interesting you brought up State of Origin there. Can we hear from Chris Fagan, who spoke about that on Fox last night?
I like the concept, Gary, and I think the players love it, so it's good from that perspective. I'd probably just have one concern. I was a little bit surprised that it's being played in February. Players are going through pre-season there. If we want the Origin concept to be like it was when you played, and they were fierce contests, I'm not sure that playing a fierce contest against another state in the middle of February is great preparation for an AFL season. And I worry that there might be some injuries in regards to that. But I would have thought it might have been better played in the middle of a season, had the mid-season break and put it on them when footy's at its peak.
What are your expectations of Origin? You agree?
I agree 100% with Chris Fagan. Yeah. I do, like February, I just find, like I'm putting a coach's hat on now and I'm thinking, geez, February, we haven't even started the season. What if, God forbid, something happens to one of our players that goes down? Now, I know that can happen during the season, but they're more prepared in season than what they are in February. And, the programming, and then so they are on a different schedule. So who's available, who's playing, they've got to be in the right condition to play a game. So normally practice games are sort of, the back end of February. So these guys are now 2 weeks ahead of schedule in terms of their preparation. But I was more, when they were bringing it back, I was along Chris Fagan's line around, let's have the mid-season bye. Those guys play a standalone game, and I think that brings a better opportunity, because even on that weekend, that's the Live Golf weekend. I'm not watching the State of and South Australia are not even playing, so I'm not even going to watch it.
This bloke, honestly.
Not interested. I'm going to go and watch John Rahm.
And I think you do both speak a lot of sense. I think you're right in terms of the timing. It seems like a strange move to play it in February. Tuggers, we need to get someone on from the AFL. Or have they indicated why that is the case? Is that a broadcast thing?
I think they were seduced by the thing that they did this year, which was the Indigenous All-Stars game. They saw that in the pre-season and went, well, it was such a great spot for it. People really loved it. It was well welcomed. Maybe they just wanted to use that time slot again.
Yeah.
But I think that was more based around the Indigenous players as well, like the excitement of seeing those guys play, in a team as well. It's not so much the State of Origin.
Well, hopefully people still have that same excitement around playing for your state, do you think? Or?
Yeah, but when I played it, then I was lucky enough to play in it.
You played?
Yeah, so I played for South Australia, and we played against Victoria, and I played against WA. And mid-season, what it does also, and as a player, it's a bit like the Pro Bowl. You get rewarded on your form leading up to that.
Yeah.
So as a state player, in your back of your mind, you're there going, geez, if I put a good 6 or 8 weeks together, I'm a chance to represent my state, as you do and I never represented the state in under 18 level or whatever. I wasn't picked in any of those teams. So for me, and I got to play with Steve Kernahan, Chris McDermott, some of the great players, Tony Modra that played there. So it was a wonderful experience, and it was reward for your performance throughout the year. And that's why I like it mid-year rather than let's just pick the best players perhaps on what 2025 served up. So that would be the difference.
Wow, that's cool. Did the players or you have any reservations around injury? Zero?
Didn't care less.
Take us back. We're in the wrong era, Sammy.
Yeah.
Take us back.
To have you say, call in, tell us what your thoughts around Origin are, because there's lots of differing opinions on this. Some people absolutely want it. Some people want it to be like the New South Wales-Queensland League sort of rivalry. I don't think we'll quite get back to that.
We won't get that because it's more than two states. Yeah.
So have you say 8223 0000 in the running for the grand final package if you get to air. It's 11 minutes to 6. Here's your traffic.
G'day there. Not looking too bad for the run home today. We're actually going to break down Fred. That's nice, isn't it? Simply busy in a few spots. Greenhill Road at Wayville. Also Richmond Road at Keswick, quite busy. And St Donald Bradford Drive, pretty sluggish as you're driving out of the city. We're slow for works. South Road, Glandore, the tram overpass works. And a little bit busy at the moment to Kettleville Terrace at the Britannia roundabout. You find cameras for the drive home. Military Road, Semaphore Park and Press Road at Brooklyn Park. Euro Summer is calling. Flight Centre's early bird sale on now. Fly Singapore Airlines Adelaide to Barcelona return from $1,695. Book now at Flight Centre. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Get a coach's perspective each week on the 5AA Sports Show when Rowie and Timmy G chat with Scott Camporeale for Coach's Corner. Thanks to unique home-style foods, proudly baking for hundreds of South Australian businesses for 35 years. See the difference.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Yeah, Nettie, just about everyone's been to the Kent Town Hotel, and for very good reason.
Oh, yeah. Ground level, you've got the same amazing menu in the restaurant and the Kent Bar, plus seating for 150 outside. It's the perfect spot for any day of the week.
Yeah, but here's something you may not know, Nettie. Upstairs is a balcony bar.
I did not know that. The balcony bar has everything the Kent Bar does, including the menu. It's also one of Adelaide's most popular venues for events for up to 150 people, as I said before, including afternoon wakes.
Well, and also the Christmas parties are going to be winding up soon, so they'll be ready to book. So get your own bar, an outside balcony area that holds 80 people and fireplaces just to keep everyone nice and cosy.
You know they do a curry night as well.
Really?
2 curries for like $20 or something. It's Monday night or Tuesday night. That's completely off script. But anyway, and it's completely separate from the 400-person function room on the same level. So you really do get the balcony to yourself, Campo.
Yep. So if you're looking for a great space for your next special event, check out the balcony bar at the Kent Hotel.
This Thursday, September 18, is International Cheeseburger Day at Macca's. Or as we like to call it, Free Cheeseburger Day. Spend just $1 on the My Macca's app and get a free cheeseburger. This Thursday only. Excludes with delivery. See an app for details.
For over 50 years, Gliderol has been manufacturing and installing garage doors for South Australian homes. Spring is almost here, so why not improve the street appeal and value of your most prized possession? Order a new Gliderol door with operator before the end of September and you'll receive 2 extra handsets. Plus, we'll remove your existing door for free. Call Gliderol for a free measure and quote on 1300 799 144 or go to gliderol.com.au. Retail customers only. T's and C's apply.
Got something big to budge? Budget with Budget. Little trucks, big trucks. You can do it all in a budget rental truck. Get exactly what you need and at a great price too. So remember, whatever you've got to budget with a budget rental truck. Budget car and truck rental. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Budget with a budget rent-a-truck is quick and cheap. Well, half your luck when you budget with a budget rent-a-truck.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
We knew that this was the plan, and we also acknowledge that the AFL wants to do something in Western Australia. We've got Gather Round, which of course is the major big economic opportunity, but I think bringing back of State of Origin we welcome for a lot of people. We don't see it being in Western Australia as a permanent feature, whereas we certainly want to see Gather Round here in South Australia as a permanent feature.
There's our Premier yesterday talking about State of Origin, wanting to try and get it here to South Australia
we're
as
getting
well.
greedy, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
The next will be the AFL Grand Final.
Don't
we'll
you
get that
love
as
it?
well.
Don't you love it?
He's doing well, Mally.
8223 Let's get your thoughts on Origin and anything else you'd like to talk about in footy. Let's go to Paul at Brighton.
Yeah, hi guys, how are you?
Good, thanks, Paul.
Good. Just bringing up regarding the State of Origin. I'm not really sure what the AFL are thinking because there's quite a few reasons, but it's probably not going to work at that time of the year. Like in February the 14th, it's likely to be extremely hot. Players haven't had any trial games or anything. How do you pick the side? What form do you use and all that sort of thing? And I'm just not sure that that's going to work at that time of the year. That's all. Seems strange.
Yeah. Well, we're probably the same, Paul, in terms of timing of it. As we just said before, Chris Fagan said middle of the year is probably better. I agree with that. Have a bye around. This ties into the whole, round zero. Then where everyone's has different bye weeks or that. So if you do that, just play round one. Have a mid-season bye, and if they need a second bye, which is what it just do it. That's fine.
Greg Swan's putting the whole season, the whole 18 club bye as a proposal to the Commission next month. So he wants to see that. He doesn't want the spread out 3 week.
Well, who would have thought that someone like Greg Swan would come up with something like that, who's been in footy land?
Yeah.
Common sense prevails.
The only thing, putting your coach's hat on, obviously, in that mid-season bye, I know you said that players will get after it and there's no issue with concern around injury, but if you're wanting your best players to have a rest in the middle of that season as you ramp up for a final series, I mean, there is legitimate concern around that, right?
Well, but that's always been the case. That happened when we were playing. You ever look at if you want to use the NRL as an example, they play 3 and they go and play on the Friday night. Yeah. So they play on the Wednesday and then button up again on the Friday. So they don't necessarily worry about it too much. I think, as you know, Ned, that they're better prepared. You can back off a little bit during the week, restrict some game time and some of that stuff.
Could it be more of an opt-in thing from players? If it is, this is already player-led.
Yeah. No, I think it could be. Yeah, but I think you generally get a lot of people that would be interested. So, yeah.
Wouldn't you hate it if your best players in the competition said, nah, not for me, I'm not going to do it?
This whole thing's been player-driven from the start.
But that
so
would
they've got what they
tear
want.
the whole concept down in 5 minutes. If
This
that
is the
happened.
only reason we've got this. The players want it.
Good.
George at Stepney.
G'day, guys. How are you?
Good, George.
Good. Yeah, I'm enjoying down the callers. I think it's a joke playing in February. I mean, I remember growing up and going to the footy and looking forward to the State of Origin that mid-year where you got to see the players play, their games earlier and who's in form. I mean, how are you going to pick a side from last year? I mean, it's just a joke. It's going to be looked at as a pre-season trial game. Well, that's what it's going to be like, and there's no interest in those. I mean, we look at those and go, no worries, they won, they lost. But it's February to whatever date it is. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's too late.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, George, so
that's the one. February.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I can't watch it, mate. I've got to take the wife out.
Campo's at Live Golf.
No.
George, you're on a date. I mean, seriously. You're both frauds.
Hey, well, clearly he's taking his missus with him.
She
if I was
does.
going to go, I'd have to take her with me. And I don't think she's like that Valentine's Day.
Well, that is actually fact, George.
That's gold.
The Live was on Valentine's Day last year, and my wife did come down, and we watched Dom Dollar on the Friday.
You built that into a date night.
Absolutely.
That's
shouted her.
You are just
shouted her a bucket of hot chips and a couple of CC drives.
You are the king.
He is.
She's a beautiful woman. Very lucky to have her. Doug at Blakeview.
Yeah, good day, guys. I was just ringing up about the Christian Petracca thing. So, obviously, Max Gawn's the best ruckman in the competition over the last 10 years or even more than that.
Yep.
So, how much impact does that have on Christian Petracca's game? Is he as good a midfielder when he's reading off of Riley O'Brien as what he is reading off of Max gone? And the other thing, my other question would be, is Short a possibility to be in that trade deal, because he's not getting a look at the Crows at the moment with Nick Murray's form.
Look, I think that's a really good call, Doug. There's a couple of things we need to unpack there. The first is obviously the connection with Ruck Campo, and you'll have a good take on this. Clearly, as one of the best mids in the competition, you are going to get benefit from playing under Max Gawn.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
100%.
Absolutely. I think it'd be really difficult to argue that Riley O'Brien would be similar in a connection aspect, ruck to mid. However, if you go and play in a different system, I mean, we don't know what the role's been for Petracca forward, at Melbourne. Is he spending more time forward there? Does he have certain roles? How does it work with Oliver? So I think if you bring Petracca in, you need to play the likes of Peatling and others around him to just let him go. It's almost that Dustin Martin role where he can start and then spread forward and replace him through system. I would hate to see him come to the Adelaide Crows and be confined and restricted under a really specific role, because he's that X factor that this club needs at this stage, I think.
Well, do you think Nixie would do that though? He's very role orientated.
I've played under Nixie, and I wouldn't I wouldn't suggest that would be something front of mind for him. He, as you say, he's very, system role player-esque. But you get Petracca in, the worst thing you could do is stump up all of that draft capital, pay him all of that money and go, hey, mate, you've got to stand here at this time or whatever. Go and let the guy play and build in a system that lets him bring his assets to the floor, particularly ahead of the ball.
Very well said, Neddy. It's time for the 6 o'clock news. Mark Bosnich from Stan Sport's going to join us next. Champions League footy, Premier League footy, it's all happening.
Looking for exceptional early learning and care for your autistic child? Discover Anglicare SA's Daphne Street Autism Specific Centre. Our state-of-the-art facility in Prospect is run by a skilled team who offer expert education, specialised therapies and a play-based curriculum designed for individual growth. With a focus on early intervention and inclusive care, we ensure every child's unique needs are met. Give your child the best start with Anglicare SA. Visit our website to learn more. Anglicare SA, where every child's journey matters.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Up-to-the-minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible shower tonight and partly cloudy and 17 tomorrow. With the 6 o'clock news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
As finals footy gets tougher, nothing's built tougher than TJM 4x4, Nailsworth, Ranella and now Mount Gambier.
A man has died in hospital following a crash at Oakbank yesterday morning. The 76-year-old was struck by a car on Onkaparinga Valley Road. The driver of the car, a 55-year-old woman, wasn't physically injured. Major crash officers are examining the circumstances surrounding the crash and are keen to speak to any witnesses who are yet to give a statement. The man's death is the 61st life lost on SA roads this year. A 19-year-old man from Netherby has been arrested after a joint investigation between SAPO and the E-Safety Commission. It's alleged the Southern Suburbs man posted both non-invasive and AI-manipulated explicit images of a victim on social media. He's been charged with 7 counts of distributing an invasive image and bailed to appear in court at a later date. Health and disability support workers rallied outside the Premier's office in Welland this afternoon as they fight for a pay rise. They say the latest offer fails to address the pay gap with workers in other states or the sacrifices they make by working Sundays. Premier Peter Malinowska says the government will keep negotiating in good faith.
They've rejected our latest offer and we get that happens in a negotiation. We just want to land a deal that's a wage increase, which above inflation, which we're committed to. But at the same time, we're pretty determined, having delivered 4 budget surpluses, we want to keep the budget in surplus. So it's just about getting that balance right.
More than 300 pigs are believed to have died in yesterday's blaze at a Dublin piggery. Hay combustion's believed to have sparked the blaze in 2 sheds which house young piglets. Animal rights activist Jenna Such has told Seven it's not the first time the Angar piggery has been in the news.
It's scenes from your worst nightmare. It's a horror story. What more needs to happen before this place is shut down and the government of South Australia does something about it?
Australia and Papua New Guinea are scrambling to ratify a new defence treaty by tomorrow. Michael Packy reports.
The Prime Minister is in Port Moresby to mark PNG's 50 years of independence and sign an historic defence pact with the tiny Pacific nation. But the agreement has hit a snag. Members of the Papua New Guinea Cabinet are yet to ratify the deal. It's understood some are privately concerned it could breach PNG's sovereignty. Anthony Albanese is confident the defence treaty will be signed, claiming it has the overwhelming support of the Marape government.
PNG, of course, as a sovereign nation, are just going through their processes.
The pact would mean both countries would come to each other's aid if one comes under attack.
Social media giants could face almost $50 million in penalties if they fail to comply with an upcoming ban. Under the guidelines, platforms cannot solely rely on users to input their birthdays. E-Safety Commissioner Julie Inman-Grant says companies must take reasonable steps to ensure those under 16 do not have accounts.
Companies should first focus on the goal of deactivating or removing accounts of under 16s on December 10th and make discoverable user reporting available so that parents and educators have recourse when under 16 accounts are missing.
Former Neighbours star Craig McLachlan's first stage role since 2017 has ended before it even began after fierce backlash forced him to quit. He was due to appear in an adaptation of Cluedo, but claims trolls have bullied his family and fellow actors over his casting. He was acquitted of indecent assault charges in 2020 relating to another theatre production. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Whether your block's the size of Adelaide Oval or the Gold Square, customise your build with Sterling Homes.
After 9 seasons, Adelaide has told Lockie Murphy he's no longer required. The small forward played 120 games for the Crows since debuting in 2018, while Irish rookie Carl Gallagher has also been wished all the best on his return to Ireland after being told he won't be offered a contract next year. The 23-year-old joined the Crows in 2024 and has featured consistently in the SANFL side. Hawthorn has ruled out Kalshadir for Friday's prelim final against Geelong at the MCG. The 20-year-old key forward is making progress in his recovery from a minor hamstring injury and remains a chance to be available for selection if the Hawks advance to the grand final. While Brisbane midfielder Hugh McCluggage insists the reigning premiers are still hungry for more success. The Lions are preparing to play their 3rd prelim final in as many years on Saturday night. McCluggage says they are as motivated as ever to face the Magpies at the MCG.
Although we won it last year, it just doesn't seem like it's enough. You know, you always want to go again and you want to keep chasing, and we've been hunted this year as the reigning premiers and been able to battle through all the adversity that we've had this year off the back of that and put ourselves in a position where we get to play against the final 3 other sides.
And in some SANFL news, Nathan Basset has been named West Adelaide's new men's coach. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Sharman Shelving have moved their showroom next door into the Big White Building, still at 412 North East Road.
G'day there. Roads looking pretty good for the run home today. Racks and breakdown free. Busy in a few spots. Greenhill Road at Parkside. Also sluggish Richmond Road at Richmond. And South Road Mile End busy in both directions. Works in Overgarden sluggish. Anzac Highway to Morford Road with a camera at Crittenden Road at Findon tonight. Now at Faster Pasta, there's a new range of deliciously decadent desserts and hot drinks. Smooth, rich and just so yummy. And only at Faster Pasta. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Get the Toyota forklift advantage. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
A possible shower tonight and partly cloudy tomorrow, heading for 17. Partly cloudy again on Thursday, 23, and then showers increasing on Friday, 18. At the moment, 15. Now let's see what's happening on 9 News tonight.
Thank you. I'm Brenton Raglis. Tonight, a Good Samaritan has been stabbed at Prospect after a 2-year-old's party turned violent. Australian researchers have linked daily sunscreen usage to vitamin D deficiencies. And Sturt captain James Battersby has stepped away from the club just days from the grand final. Don't worry, you haven't missed the news. Start over on 9 now as soon as you're home.
When it comes to reducing pain and rebuilding strength, Kiesa leaves nothing to chance. Our university-qualified health professionals don't just treat problem areas. They design personalised training programs using Swiss-engineered machines unique to Kiesa. These machines safely isolate the affected area, test your strength, and help rebuild your muscles for a stronger, more active and healthier life. Kiesa, building strength with precision in Norwood.
September is savings month. For great tasting endless water at the best possible price, call Puritap now on 133502. It's a quality product manufactured right here in SA at the best possible price. The sun's coming back and September is savings month at Puritap. Don't waste time searching, call Puritap now, 133502. If it's price and quality you want, call Puritap now, 133502. We could be in your area this week.
Right now at Formula Honda, drive away in the CR-V Hybrid 24 build from $56,900 or the Honda ZR-V Hybrid 24 build from $51,900. That's a price reduction of $3,000. Plus, get 8 years unlimited kilometre warranty and roadside assist across the entire SUV range. But you'd better hurry. These offers are only available until September 30. T's and C's apply. Test drive at Formula Honda today. Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond or North East Road, Modbury.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry.
The 5AA Sports Show.
10 minutes after 6 on this Tuesday night, the fishing show is coming up very soon. Neddy McHenry just rolls on into 6:30 tonight, and we'll talk all things out on the water. And you can watch us here live on the live stream, Stillwell Hyundai at Ingle Farm. You can take a test drive today to find your perfect Hyundai car at Bridge Road, Ingle Farm. Gee, we love the round ball. We love the world game. It is starting to ramp up.
Salah, Liverpool, top of the Premier League. 4 games played, 4 games won. Mohamed Salah in the dying embers at Turf Moor breaks Burnley hearts.
Well, Ned, the UEFA Champions League kicks off tomorrow morning from 2:15. I'm sure you'll be up watching some of that before the Premier League returns at 9 p.m. this Saturday night. Every match of both will be live and exclusive on football's new homestand sport. And we've got our resident expert, Mark Bosnich. Welcome, Bos.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Well, and you just heard in the opener, Liverpool continued their title defence undefeated, and Mo Salah just sealed the deal with a stoppage penalty, and now a game clear on top.
He did, and like you said as well, undefeated. They're not only undefeated, they've won every game. 5 of the goals that they've scored in their 4 games have been in the last 10 minutes. And the other thing, which is a little bit scary for the rest of the teams, they haven't been quite at their best. And they've also got their record signing, Alexander Isak, to come in. He was obviously bought on deadline day from Newcastle, but Arne Slot, the manager, decided that he's not quite ready to join the squad in terms of his fitness. So it's a bit of a frightening proposition for the rest of the Premier League, who are doing okay. There's no doubt about that, but they're going to have to really step things up if they want to overtake Liverpool and be champions this season.
Yeah, well, and a bit more closer to home, Arsenal proved far too good for Nottingham Forest in Ange's first game, 3-0. It's an interesting concept that we interviewed another guest last week from Nottingham Forest around what that might look like. Really tough to walk into the change room and change something so quickly.
Very much so, and that was our main game on Stan Sport. This was the first time we went on Channel 9 since the start of the season. And just to let everybody know, thank you so much, but that was a record, the most live-viewed football game in the history of Stan Sport.
Wow.
And also the most live-viewed, second most live-viewed sporting event ever in the history of Stan Sport. And I think a lot of that was down to the fact that Ange Postecoglou was the manager. Arsenal were excellent, don't get me wrong, in players like Madueke and Eze, who just signed from Crystal Palace, and Zubamendi, who scored 2 goals. They've got a very good team. They are one of the teams that can challenge Liverpool. coming back to Ange and Forrest, look, they performed out their skin last season. They finished 7th. They got to the FA Cup semi-final. They're only 1 point off a Champions League place, and they qualified for the Europe for the first time in 30 years. So their team was set up to play in a certain way, which was completely opposite to the way Ange likes to play generally, although he showed last season he can adapt. So he left it for the first game, and he came out in the post-match press conference and said he ain't going to wait 2 months nor 2 weeks. He's going to change it immediately, and that will start this Thursday Australian time in the League Cup third round away to Swansea. But this is a very dangerous period when you are changing the way and the habits of people in your team that have been used to playing in a certain way for nearly 2 years now and got success for it, and you're going to change it pretty much overnight. It can be a very dangerous period. And we know with their chairman, Evangelos Marinakis, he's not the most particularly patient of person. This is the 8th manager he's had in eighth permanent manager he's had in 8 years. So I wish him all the best. I believe that he can do it, but it might be a little bit tricky, especially in these next 5 or 6 games.
Well, my next question is the obvious one, Boz. Will they embrace the Ange ball, or will they bring in something different?
Well, I can't really answer that one thoroughly like I could with Spurs, because remember with Spurs, when he took over, Antonio Conte, the previous manager, had upset everybody. He played a very boring style of football, and evidently a lot of the players, I don't think, were too enamoured with him. Here it's complete opposite. You know, you've got the ex-manager, Nuno Espirito Santo, who they loved. Not only the players, but the fans loved as well. He had success, from the season and a half that he was there. So it's even though Antonio Conte, managerial wise, in terms of his success and his stature in the game, is a huge name. Espirito Santo's shoes are going to be much bigger to fill than Antonio Conte's was. So the results will tell the story at the very top level. And you'll hear this at AFL, NRL, everything. Results will determine how everybody plays out the narrative and how players feel about you, because there'll be a couple that won't be sure about Ange, but once they start practicing his philosophies and what he likes to do and they start bearing results, that will quickly change. If it's the other way round, then there could be a problem.
Well, you mentioned the ratings, Boz, in terms of Australians' interest in Ange. It feels like we're all behind him. Is he actually that different? Like, is his leadership style different compared to other international managers, or are we just fascinated with him because he is Australian?
I think he's a bit of both. There's no doubt he's different. He's had success everywhere he's gone, including here in Australia. And the fact that he's Australian obviously makes him very close to all of us, and we can touch him and we can feel him, and we know he started here in the A-League. But he has had success wherever he's gone. He also had the wonderful opportunity when he was a player at South Melbourne back in the day, and he had Ferenc Puskas, the late Ferenc Puskas, who was an absolute legend in our game, both especially as a player and also as a manager, and that would have helped him greatly. But I really think, like I said, that the main attraction is because the majority of us, including myself, haven't played under him, right? We hear great stories and we see the success. The biggest attraction is that he's one of us. So we feel, a great affection and a real sense of the fact that this is a really good opportunity for young Australian managers to cement his place in the biggest league in the world. So then, perhaps people will turn around and say, look, next time we get a manager, we might look all the way to Australia, because I think for a long time, and not only with manager but with players as well, the other sports, let's be honest, AFL were the best in the world, NRL best in the world, cricket normally best in the world, rugby union we have been best in the world, football is a frontier that we haven't really truly conquered. So I think on this journey that we need to go, all these little things help, and it gives us something to really aim towards. And I think that's another reason why the Matildas are so popular, because as Australian sports people, and sports fans, we've been very spoiled, especially when it comes to terms, say, the Olympics. We've always not only punched above our weight, we've been there and thereabouts. We have a chance of winning things. And that's why I think you saw with the Matildas, it was the fact that in a sport which is played by all around the world, the fact that they could win, I think really, and the fact that the way they played, gendered an interest that we haven't seen before.
Absolutely. No, it has been good. I feel like we're all getting on board, and well said. Man City, well, they smashed Man U in the Derby 3-0. One of the worst starts of their EPL seasons in 30-something years, 33 years. Is that right, boss?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's their worst start in a Premier League season since 1992-93.
That Derby's dead, Boz. That Derby is dead.
But I will say, 1992-93, you know who the champions were in the Premier League?
Were you a part of it?
Manchester United. But no, I wasn't. No, Manchester United did end up winning the league, but I don't think they're going to be champions in 2025-26. Put it that way. Overwhelmed by Manchester City. Manchester City are on a different level right now at this moment in time, even though they are rebuilding, but they're still on a different level. Manchester United. Look, it hasn't. We all know since Sir Alex retired, it hasn't really worked out. I don't really know where they go from here. But I think that the most important thing that I took out of that game is that their manager, Ruben Amorim, after the game, once again talked about, if people don't like the way my philosophy is, that maybe they need to change me. That's the second time I've heard that publicly. I don't like that. And it's kind of like, he's basically daring people to say, look, listen, then change. And I think the question was just asked about tweaking certain things, which I think sometimes you have to do, right? Certain games, need, unless you're the best team by far, unless you're like like Barcelona was 10 years ago, or Paris has been, then you just go, we're playing the way we're playing, and that's it. Anyone can deal with us. Well, Manchester United aren't at that level. So it's worrying times for them. And they got Chelsea this week. I know it's at home, but this is a worrying times once again. And, changing manager continually, anyone will tell you in any walk of life, it's very difficult to get success when you're continually changing managers.
Well, and that's a bit of the EPL, but the UEFA Champions League kicks off as well on Wednesday morning or tomorrow morning. What can we expect from there, Boz?
Oh, well, there's some big games coming up. Remember, we've got the league phase. So remember, it's 8 different match days against 8 different teams. Tomorrow morning, the games really to look out for is Athletic Club. That's Athletic Bilbao from Spain versus Arsenal. That's at 2:45 a.m. It's an early game here, Australian Eastern Standard Time. The other game to look out for, I think, is the replay of the 1997 final, Juventus versus Borussia Dortmund. Both teams second in their respective leagues and actually playing quite well. And like I said, a replay of that final. Spurs at the same time will also take on Spain's Villarreal. Thursday morning, the replay of the 2012 final, Bayern Munich versus Chelsea at 5. And also at the same time, Liverpool versus Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid not having the greatest of starts in Spain this season. And then on Friday morning, the game that stands out is Newcastle versus Barcelona. For those who love their English sides, Manchester City play Napoli as well. But really, the game of that round on Friday morning will be Newcastle versus Barcelona. So many games to look forward to, so many competitions to look forward to. And like I said, please join us on Stan Sport.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Boz. Thanks very much, mate. Thanks for your time. As Boz said, you can catch every match, both live and exclusive, on the new home of football on Stan Sport.
It's 20 after 6. Campo and Nettie with you. We'll take more of your calls next.
5AA is your home for AFLW football. Catch Crows and Power games live all season.
Thanks to Barnacle Bill, serving South Australians quality seafood and much, much more for over 50 years.
Things are heating up at Adelaide's largest selection of fireplaces, the Home of Fire. Get massive savings on wood, gas and electric heating, and check out their outdoor kitchens. The Home of Fire for all your flaming needs. The Home of Fire, 126 McGill Road, Norwood.
Is your tech causing chaos? You need Gigs to You. Got a constantly crashing computer, weak Wi-Fi, problematic printer? Our fast and friendly gigs are available to come to you. No fix, no fee, gigs guarantee. Gigs to You, part of Officeworks.
The Battle of the Ages is back with the one and only Anne Edmonds.
To keep the millennials happy, we'll give everyone a participation medal.
New Talking About Your Jam starts 7:30 tonight on 10.
Yeah, Ned, you know there are snitties, and then there's the Schnitzel family meal at Jarmer's Kitchen in Bowden.
Exactly. How good is this? 10 freshly crumbed schnitzels. Not frozen, Campo, not box. We're talking handcrafted the old way. Pounded out, seasoned, dipped, crumbed, then cooked to perfection. Oh, my goodness. That's tradition right there.
Yeah, my mouth's watering. And it doesn't stop with the schnitzel. You get a big Austrian cucumber salad as well, a proper potato salad, plus a big bowl of golden fries, the whole lot. A family feast for just $110.
That's good value. And if you're feeling like veal too, you can upgrade for just $10 more. It's food that fills the table and the soul.
Yeah, head to Jarmer's Kitchen at Bowden. Chris Jarmer and the whole team are just magnificent people. Ask for their incredible schnitzel family meal and fill up on tradition.
Paying for a gym membership means going the first month, sleeping in the next month, voicemails from your personal trainer, taking up cold plunges instead, realising you're more of a good book by the fire type, hot chocolate by the fire type,
marshmallow,
forgot you even signed up for the gym type. Go from forgotten subscriptions to found savings with the Westpac app's clever tech. To get it done, it takes a little Westpac. Westpac online banking T's and C's. Eligibility, fees and charges apply.
Can I have another marshmallow?
Need a quick dinner or snack hack? Whatever's in your fridge, refresh, remix and wrap it up with Simpson's Pantry wraps and flatbreads. They'll be absolutely wrapped.
Simpson's Pantry. Absolutely wrapped.
Start your journey with a Mercedes-Benz SUV. Enjoy savings from $10,000 on select GLE and GLS models with complimentary delivery fee across the SUV range. Visit Mercedes-Benz Adelaide and Unley today. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Dad.
Yes, mate?
I've been thinking about this for a while. I think I'm going to move out.
Oh, son. Honey, get on the phone to Lonsdale Marine and RV. We're hitting the road.
When you're finally free to explore, do it with Lonsdale Marine and RV. We tailor everything to how you want to travel. Big fridge, solar, slide-out kitchen, anything you like. Don't settle for a showroom clone. Check out Lonsdale Marine and RV, 30 Donegal Road, Lonsdale.
Scott Camporeale and Ned McHenry. The 5AA Sports Show.
23 minutes after 6, the 5AA Fishing Show with Ned McHenry. Straight after 6:30. It has been exit meeting day for the Adelaide Crows today. It'll probably continue tomorrow, but the official announcements were made today for Lachlan Murphy and Carl Gallagher. They have both been delisted. Your quick thoughts around that today?
Yeah, well, you probably thought that they were the two obvious ones. I think out of the rest, Matt Crouch is obviously retired. They're still unsure about Taylor Walker and Brodie Smith around where that goes. And Hugh Bond and Zach Taylor, you would think, would get new deals. So at this point in time, you're probably there. And Chris Burgess was the other one, I reckon.
Yes,
it might be out of contract as well. So, well, he's been on a 12-month contract, and Harry Schonberg,
he's also
on a 12-month contract.
He got taken down to a rookie position, but still, on the same contract.
Yeah, so, tough day for those guys getting delisted, no
Quick
question.
text here from Chris saying, guys, with Lockie Murphy's delisting, which is sad, it'd be good if both of you could talk quickly about what he brought on and off the field, as he had many critics. You guys know Lockie?
Yeah, I know Lockie well, and I have noticed that, and that's reality. He has been criticised a lot. And I want to talk to you about this, Campo, around the outside and the footy community and the people that love footy. I think we lose sight of roles in footy, and modern footy is filled with roles. When I tell people at a pub when I'm having a beer and we're chatting footy that sometimes there are specific roles within a game where you are actually not the one to go and get the ball, it blows their mind. Like they cannot even fathom that. But it is a reality. There's so many players that will go out on an AFL field, they'll run certain patterns, they'll be in certain areas, which opens up the ground for the Isaac Rankins, for the Jordan Dawsons, for the others to go and show their strengths. So, whilst I do understand that some people have been critical about Murph, I think that we should look at it through that lens. He often played a role that was selfless, and as anyone who's played AFL, it's an incredible achievement, so good on him.
Yeah, well, he played 100 games. So got his name on the locker. Yep. Came from nowhere, was a rookie, came across from Melbourne, played in the Sanford, was a top up, and then managed to work his way on the list. But he was in terms of hard work and wanting to get better and, putting the team first, you couldn't ask for a better person. But you're right, there is role players. I mean, even the wing roles. I mean, that's an unheralded role in the AFL. I mean, you just run up and down, you close the exits, when it goes inside your forward line, you've got to be there to switch the ball out. So there is a lot of roles in the modern day game. There's no question about that. And he was definitely part of those.
Brodie Smith was caught door-stopped on his way out from his exit meeting. Let's hear this thanks to 7 News.
Yeah, good. No, it went well.
What's next year look like for you, mate?
Haven't locked anything in yet.
Are you hopeful of playing on, mate?
We'll see. There we go.
Whose call's it, Brodie?
I'm still trying to get over Friday, to be honest.
Interesting.
Very coy.
Yeah. No, well, and that's what you expect. I mean, he's probably not going to come out and share it with that conversation. It's an awkward situation for both parties, people asking the question and people receiving it, but they're there to do a job. But, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think he's probably more likely to hang the boots up than hang around for another year by the sounds of it.
Well, for people that have just joined us, you touched on his body language after the game. Can you quickly...
Yeah, because Rowie had his binoculars on him and he was down the room and, they sort of insinuated that you go down first because it was perhaps his last game and the family were visibly upset because of the result, of course, but I think they probably had maybe a little bit of inside knowledge, but been a wonderful player, Brody Smith. We walked in the door at the same time, got drafted at the end of 2010, and I walked in and the same day he got drafted, so I was able to see his development as a 18-year-old into an All-Australian best and fairest winner. Unfortunately did his ACL, didn't have him in 2017, worked his way back in, and he's been a wonderful contributor to that footy club.
Yeah. Can I get something off my chest at the end of the show?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks. So, Stephen Rowe. Now, he's no, seriously. He's not here to defend himself. And if you've got time, quickly jump on the call or jump on a text. We've got the fishing show coming up. Explain to me, Campo, how Stephen Rowe can be the most bullish, the most excited, the most extroverted human being about the Adelaide Crows. He was pumped. Oh, the lid was off. We were winning the flag. Collingwood were an easy beat. And he is now on holidays in the grand final week, which I have now learned that he booked 6 months ago. What?
Well, I can't explain, and he'll do that when he gets back because I'm sure you can handle that one. But he was very excited. And I must admit, and he blamed me to Will and Pembo on Monday that I encouraged him to lift the lid and get him going.
He lifted the lid, but 6 months ago he booked a trip on grand final week. He is a fraud. He did not truly believe.
I'll let you take that up with him.
More of these boys tomorrow from 4. Thanks for joining us. The Fishing Show next.
She's ANZ on a hot streak.